What's up, everyone? Welcome to the eighth season of the Timeless Gamer Show, where our games and our bodies may grow out of date, but our gaming experiences will forever remain timeless. And we are now streaming live in Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And you can still check our past videos by going to the YouTube channel of the Timeless Gamer Show, or you can just listen to us talk by going to the major audio streaming platforms by searching in the Timeless Gamers Show. And previously on Timeless Gamers, we discussed some MS DOS games. One take you back to the past to play the shitty games that sucked ass. All right.
Copyright. There
Uh,
you
do like a copyright strike.
go.
A few variety of games that we covered over there on that episode. Some wholesome, some not so wholesome, but don't take my word for it. Just go watch it, take a listen, go watch it. And for this episode, we are now talking about the city building video games, called city building, city construction, city planning, all that stuff. And this episode was brought to us by Miss Eileen, once again heading this episode. So let's get on to it, Miss Eileen.
Hi everyone, welcome to our episode for tonight about city builders. Hope you enjoy our episode and you may try some of the games we will recommend later.
All right, thank you for that, Miss I. How about Sir JDM?
Hello guys, good evening and welcome back to Timeless Gamer Show, and this is Juan DeMarcos from Cebu City, and we'll be talking about the city building games that we used to love through the years.
And still
Right.
love even now. Hey,
And yes.
um, thank you for that, Sir JDM. How about Sir Joe Banyakanagib?
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are. This is the Banyagang Native coming at you live from New Jersey and on the recorded portion of the podcast on every major platform, talking about city builders and different platforms that city builders showed up on, all the way from DOS to modern age. So back to you, John.
All right, thank you for that, Sir Joel. And a quick shout out to our partners, of course, the Sega Mega Master Show, being hosted by Sir Dan and Sir Viraju. Cannot be here, unfortunately. For anything Sega related video games and discussions, just go to their podcast. It's watchable in YouTube. Go to Sega Mega Master Show, and of course, a Retro Unlimited for all of your retro designs, apparel, and clothing. Shuffle Emporium for all of your anime figures, toys, trading card games, and other collectibles. Studio.ph for their printing services like stickers, shirts, hoodies, bags. And Collectors Alley, located at the third floor of the LRT North Mall for all of the related video games, toys, action figures, Gundam model kits, and anime related goodies. And let's go say hi to the chat down there. Who do we got down there? Miss Eileen. Oh, Master JDM. Who do we got down there at the chat? Up, no.
Here in the chat, we welcome Jed De Jesus of Premorn and Shuffle Emporium. He said, "Good evening, TG crew. Good evening." And also welcome Ray Q, who says, "Good evening, Timeless Gamer crew and chat." Yes, good evening, everyone. We also have Clark Plombiano of Clark 21 Just for Fun.
Hey,
Yay,
hey, brother.
Clark. It's great
Welcome.
to see you.
Yes, it's great to see you
Where
here
you at,
in.
Clark? Clark.
You know,
Yeah, mamaya.
yeah, Clark is over. Yeah, Clark is
Different Clark,
over in
different Clark.
Facebook right now, actually saying hi to everybody in Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitch, making sure that everybody make sure that you guys can participate with our discussion. We're not just here ourselves. We're not just here at the panel. It's also you guys. We are value everybody's opinion. And if your comment, if you comment in any of our streams in Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch, we'll make sure to do our very best to give everybody a shout out and engage in the discussion. All right.
Right, and also we have a new We were in
Challenger.
here, yes, in the form of Mr. Dan Faulkner of the Sega Mega Masters.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh, Welcome to the show. And I
Yeah.
also see myself here.
Oh, I know.
On Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. It's amazing. I
All
have like
three.
a multiverse of one DeMarcos here.
Yes, and it's better than having multiple personalities anyway. Oh, no.
All
All
right.
right.
So,
That's it. So let's just get into it, Miss I. So Miss I will be holding on to this. Will be heading this spearheading this episode. A little bit
Yes.
of a little bit of anecdote. With I mean, there have been some city building games even before.
Mm,
I mean, during the 80s and 90s of video games, even the NAS era have a few, but to me it's been like it's a niche within a niche as well. I mean, not a lot of I would say it's one of those underappreciated, underestimated kind of genre, but surprisingly, with the aspect of its mechanics, people find it enjoyable and relaxing to some. but but I'm a JRPG guy, so what do I know? Let's let's ask these people because they are the ones who really are more aficionated with this kind of video games. So let's get into it, Miss I.
So for today, we will be talking about City Builder. So what is a City Builder game? So it is a type of simulation game. It's like a subgenre where the player is the overall planner or manager of a city or town, and you are responsible for its growth and management. So first of all, for everyone here on our panel, what for you makes City Builders fun? I'll begin. For me, City Builders are fun if there is a good challenge, but not too difficult. I'm looking at you, constructor. Constructor, you're very difficult. And if there's a good pace of growth in the game, that would be nice. And also, if you see the little people living in your town or city, it's also quite nice. And also, if the graphics and animation is good, it doesn't have to be, let's say, realistic graphics, as long as it's appealing as long as the visuals are appealing and you can see your city or town being alive. So that's what makes City Builders fun for me. How about you, Sir Joel, my fellow fan of City Builders?
oh
What makes
yes.
City Builders fun for you?
Oh, city builders. The thing about city builders is that the biggest difference between a regular video game where you control one person or a party of people it going through an adventure, with the city builder, the city itself is the main character. We're talking as in it with a regular video game. You take one character, you build his stats up, you make it stronger, you make him cast better spells, you make him faster, you have him acquire skills. The thing about city builders is that the city itself is the main character. You build your city up so that it produces better infrastructure, better taxes, better power production, better roadways, better abilities overall. So, in a way, a city builder is managing one character and making sure that that character becomes the very best character it can possibly be. In this case, the city itself. Granted, there are a lot of city builders where you can go down to the very street level and speak with individual characters, but you don't control them at all. You don't control your individual citizens. You don't control the people wandering around most of the time. You just get their opinions more often than not. So in a way, you have people walking around within your main character, like the character has characters inside of it that you have no control over, but the main character itself, which is the city, you get to choose to do whatever you like with them. Sometimes you can even cause disasters to damage your city, like in Sim City. So, toss a tornado in there or have Godzilla go on a rampage. It can happen. But again, the big difference between a regular video game where you control one character or a party of characters to go through an adventure is the fact that you're with a city builder, your main character is the city itself, and sometimes even multiple cities. But I digress. There's going to be lots of different characteristics for city builders that I'm absolutely sure my compatriot JDM is going to be able to toss in a little bit more information on. JDM, go ahead.
Okay, for me, I'm not really a city builder game kind of guy, but I've
Hmm.
played several ones.
Hmm.
So for me, city building game, what makes it fun is you can be either a good uh, uh, city building games is like a god game, like black
Mm.
and white or something like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Mm.
But the setting is in a city or like territories, then you can do anything, pretty much anything you want. You can be a douchebag, god. You can. I would like to point out Sir J. De Jesus' comment here. It's
Mm.
fun if you're toying with the NPCs and let them sit around for hours and not take the needed attention.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Team
true. Yes.
hospital.
Theme hospital. Yeah.
Sometimes if you would like to like I would like to do something really weird in
Mhm.
video games, just like when you're playing Grand Theft Auto.
Yes.
You do something good, like
Mm.
follow the traffic lights, or
Mhm.
um you just drive around without running over pedestrians. It's
Mhm.
for these games, for these city building games, you become like the evil god that um allows these disasters or those tsunamis or
Mhm.
those bad weather um get to people. And I think that it gives you freedom, and freedom to do things that you would like to do is fun enough
Mhm.
for hours.
It's very true. It's
So
very true.
yeah.
Mhm.
So how about Sir Joe? What what do you think is fun when playing
Well,
video these kinds of games?
the the only games that I remotely remember that like has any hint of city building in it would be um when I played Romance of the Three Kingdoms,
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
kind of.
Mhm.
So that kind of has a city building aspect to it. And if you're going to count, I don't know, the Red Alert 2, Command and Conquer. I
Mhm.
mean, technically speaking, you're building your own fortress city,
Yeah.
Mhm.
sure. And anyways, um, with barely enough time to come up with a decent impression
Mhm.
playing this to prepare to prepare for this episode. They're right. There's certain amount of creativity and imagination that you have to instill on this, because there's no written rule on what kind of design that you want for your ideal city. Most of the times, if you are a beginner, you'll just you'll just choose a random location. Oh, okay, I'll put it there. I'll put it here. I'll put it there. Put it there. Unless you play these games on a regular basis, that's the time when it will hit you. Maybe I should place it here. Strategically, you should put it here. Oh, it's closer to the water, so it should. Oh, this thing is close to the water. It should be here. Oh, mountains, hills. Oh, that should be here. Oh, there's a lot of grass. Oh, my livestock should be here. So there's method to the madness eventually. So for beginners, just place them randomly, whatever. Build there, construct there. But as soon as the experience kicks in, um, you'll realize that, okay, let's make it a little bit more neat. Let's make it neater. Let's make it more cleaner. Let's make it look more presentable, assuming of course people are going to visit your cities, sure, but that's the whole point of it, right?
Mhm.
um just to see what kind of city design that you came up with versus to the others. Hmm. You'll at times when I look at when I look at my initial design, and then I go with I go with some pictures online, or other people's playthrough. I'm just amazed. Oh, yeah, okay, I can see why they did it that. I can see why they did it that way. Oh, I should have done it that way. Okay. Oh no, I think my design is still right. Stuff like that. Anyways, um, we'll talk more in detail about that when we proceed with the different games that we have so far. Back to you, Masai.
Thank you very much for your input on what makes a city builder fun. Oh, by the way, also just to point out, because simulation games is quite a vast genre, so city builders is one of them, and it's often intermixed with or interchanged with management sim. So maybe in our discussion, those with management games would kind of seem through our discussion. So just to delineate our topic for tonight. So yes, yes, Sir Joe,
I was just
you're
gonna
going to say
say that.
something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that the definitely management games and city building games are big overlap. We're talking about overlapping genres, and sim games also simulation games in general. They overlap with city builder games as well. I mean, I think we can be forgiven to
Yeah,
if we cross over into some certain aspects of certain different games. They're not strictly city builders. We're perfectly fine with with crossovers, and we're perfectly fine with citing other games because of the fact that hey, we're gamers. We absolutely love our games, and we absolutely love different genres. We're not confining ourselves too much to a particular genre as long as it kind of relates to what we're talking about. So we're perfectly fine
true.
with overlaps. We're perfectly fine with overlaps. And again, for those of you in the chats, if you guys want to talk about anything at all, even if it's not remotely related to what we're talking about right now, we love to hear your inputs. Speaking of which, I'd like to acknowledge a comment here from Twitch from Clark21 just for fun. Clark Plambiano, one of our really good friends here. He says, me being a mayor in Sim City, the citizens are mad at the tax rate. Huh, who isn't? So I raised the tax rates to get them more mad at me. Yeah, that's it's one of the things. It's one of the things that we absolutely love to do because as JDM says, technically there are also aspects of God gaming in city builders because of the fact that you can control everything. You're not just sometimes the mayor, you're also technically a god. You can throw in disasters in there. But one of the more interesting things is you can raise tax
Yeah.
rates.
Because
And
in real life, you're always trying to be the good guy. Then
yes.
how
Mhm.
about when playing video games?
Yes,
How about we turn things around and
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
some evil things,
Absolutely,
like
absolutely. I mean,
something chaotic evil.
Ex- Exactly. I mean, I'm not beyond building in the original Sims, building a pool, having my Sims swim around in it, and then taking away the ladder, right? Have watch him drown, or again, one of my more favorite ones is building the toilet in the front yard so that whenever he needs to go, he has to go in front of everybody. So you can watch his dignity, his embarrassment, his happiness go down every time he has to go to the bathroom because he
Yeah,
needs to. But I digress.
but it's
Go ahead.
convenient, right? It's,
Exactly.
it sounds more convenient.
You're mowing the lawn. You can go to the bathroom right in front of everybody. So, all right, continue, Miss Eileen. You were about to say something.
That's a good point actually, because with sim games and city builders, we can do whatever we want without the consequences, but we can
Hmm.
see what will happen if we do if we choose certain actions. So that's also a fun of it,
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
And
That's
to
part of
quote
the fun.
Dungeon, yes, it's really part of the fun. And to
Mhm.
quote Dungeon Keeper too, it's good to be bad.
Oh yeah, it's
Sometimes.
good to be bad. Yeah. All right, and of course, Dan Faulkner of the Sega Mega Masters just put up a okay. I'm not sure we can talk about that here. I rescind my offer about about we being able to talk about anything. Okay. For
Love you,
those of
Sir
you,
Dan.
Yeah,
You-
we love you, sir Dad. Okay, we're
Your dad knows me too well.
yeah, for the audio podcast, you guys are just gonna have to check the video portion of the podcast to see what Dad talked about. But yeah, all right. Anyway, back to you, Miss Eileen.
So back to our discussion is where have everybody played sim games? What which platforms? For
Mm,
me, I have played PC, of course, the original Sims, yes, SimCity. I mean,
yes.
the Super Nintendo, the SimCity on it, not the SimCity Junior because that's a different one. Just the
Mm,
SimCity one. PlayStation One with theme parks, Sim theme parks. I love
mhm,
those on the PlayStation One, and
yes.
also there's mobile versions of Sim games.
Mhm,
It's fun to have them on the go. And I remember on second grade was it? Our teacher like asked us for a project where we had to make like a miniature city. So I guess I also felt the fun of city building with actual materials. I even made it fly over.
Oh,
Oh,
so
like a
nice.
I was
diorama.
A
able
diorama,
to,
yeah. Mm,
Diorama.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a better term.
mm-mm.
Diorama. So I was able to play on video games and make an actual diorama of a city. So I guess it's
Ooh,
inherent in me to do these city builders.
yeah, it's like one of the things that you go through in school, where teachers will ask you to make constructions of practical applications of everything that you learn, and Miss Eileen was able to do that. That's a very cool
I
thing.
I don't think they do dioramas now in schools
Ah,
because
that
Yeah.
sucks.
uh,
Okay.
I don't see
It's
anyone
it's too
carrying like
costly, and teachers know you're not the one doing it.
Very true,
What
very
would
true.
what would be the
the
point of
parents
that?
who are having more fun building those popsicle
Yeah,
stick
I mean, hey,
uh,
but yeah, I mean, maybe kids nowadays indulge in. My daughter actually does programming on in her school. She's all of fourth and fifth grade. Oh, she's in fifth grade now, but she started programming on Scratch from MIT online. So I wouldn't be surprised if sometime in the future they will still do it, but virtually. They'll do CAD programming, maybe like you actually see kids making full on cities in programs like Blender or AutoCAD. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't
I
know.
prefer doing it analog, actually, like up
Analog.
to scale. I mean, that's
Mm,
how we do it back then, guys. Believe it or not.
mm. That's true. That's true.
With city planning, and even with old school architecture,
Hmm.
um, we used to do it like this. So we lay out a plane,
Hmm.
imagining that this is the lot, and then we use all different sorts of shapes of squares, rectangles, and circles, so it will represent
Hmm.
whatever
Hmm.
up to scale, so that we know on so that we have this imaginary
Hmm.
overall layout, that where things should be. Like for example, when we were talking about a convention booth the other day,
Hmm.
like a 2 by 2 meter booth, how big is that? So
Two by
rather
two.
than just drawing it, I took a tape measure, and and then I really measured like 2 meters,
Mm.
2 meters long, 2 meters wide of a space. Then show it to the guys. That's your 2 by 2.
Mhm.
What else can we put in there? I mean, not, for and then so I showed it to the guys, and like for a 2 by 2 meter booth, and for that and for the organizers to ask for that kind of price to be
Mhm.
in that booth, it's not
Mm.
even. It's rather insulting.
Yeah, and the benefits were not commensurate to the cost. So cost benefit
Yeah,
analysis failed.
so I put
Mhm.
a 2 by 2. So I measured a 2 by 2 space, and then I put one of our tables there. I put one of
Mhm.
our chairs there, so that at least they'll know what kind of area we're talking about here, because a
Mhm.
space is just a space. You're not even talking about all of the content you're going to put in there. How much wiggle room you're still allowed to move around. So that pertains to your road and traffic. So that's the thing.
Mhm.
A lot is a lot. A vacant lot is just a vacant lot. You think it's you think that it's or even better. It's
Mhm.
like it's like rearranging your room.
Mhm.
This is the very basic of a city building aspect of it, city building design. do your own room, rearranging your furniture. For every person who moved out or moved in into a new apartment, you see a wide room. Oh, at first you think, oh my god, so spacious, and
Mm.
then you start putting your shit. You're putting your sofas in there. You're putting your fridge in there. You're putting your
Mm.
tables, your chairs, your television set, and then you'll realize how small the unit is. And even if you're living by yourself, but that's the thing. Anyway, back to you guys.
Mm. Well, the practical applications. Joe just illustrated the practical applications of city builders. You get to kind of plan it out. Although that is a very interesting thing, because one thing about city builders is it's very rarely that you can utilize the vertical aspect of a
Hmm.
city. You only utilize the horizontal, or the the
The
the
X, the
the,
X,
the
and the
planar.
X and the Y. You
Exactly.
don't
Yeah.
you don't factor in the Z,
Yes, precisely. And
the dimension.
getting back to Miss Eileen's question though, what platforms have I played him on? Much like Miss Eileen, I did start off on DOS. I started off on DOS City Builders, SimCity. I think we can qualify other ones like Sim Earth, Sim Ant. I
Yes.
can. I think we can. I think we can say for other city builders like there's an old city builder that I got to play a long time ago. It was called Utopia, Creation of a Nation, if I remember correctly. I think that's the title of it. It posits you're going to be in the far future. You're building a city on a different planet, and you've got enemies coming at you eventually. It's up to you to try to build as many. That's one thing about video gaming. That's the game where I learned the word hydroponics. When I was a kid, I never heard about the word hydroponics. I learned about that word. I researched it, and it started me on the path to understanding about things like self-sustainability, or learning about the environment and things like that. So hydroponics, video whoever said video games are not educational, you can just shove it up. And the thing is, it's like and in another game that I learned about, I started off on, but it was a little too complicated for me. Add to Miss Eileen's point, city builders have to be appealing enough for you to come in from the cold, because if you toss in way too much information from the very beginning, you lose people right off the bat. So one game that on DOS that I wanted to start off on but lost me early on was a game called Afterlife. It's a game where you control two aspects of cities, dead souls going up to heaven or dead souls going up to hell. And you have to build these two planes to make sure that the souls going up to heaven or going down to hell are happy, or there's going to be a revolution. So from there, from DOS going into Windows 95, going into Windows 98, there are a ton of city builders. And to this very day, I play a lot of city builders as well. So a lot, and the nice thing about it is, to this day, there's a renaissance of city builders coming out, like um like Avon Colony, a game that one of our compatriots, Mr. Roselo Reyes of Risk Place, recommended. I tried it; it's pretty good. There's also Surviving the Aftermath. A lot of city builders nowadays have been set in post-apocalyptic settings, like after the bomb has happened, you come up from the vault, and then you start building your city again. Have to battle zombies coming at you, irradiated zombies. There's lots of different games coming out nowadays, and I'm very happy that, despite the fact that I completely acknowledge what Jaw said, that it's a niche within a niche. I completely agree with that, but it's experiencing a small renaissance nowadays. Joy is showing nowadays the footage of a game called Utopia, Creation of a Nation, and it was a lot of fun when I first played it. It was very mind blowing for me because of the fact that it's a city builder, but it's not even on Earth. It was based on a different planet, and you had all these futuristic buildings that you had as a choice: life support, hydroponics. I think if there was a children's creche as well, where you could have all your children grow up in, be born in, grow up in. You have to manage the power, you have to manage the electricity, you have to manage the air. and you know that the enemies were coming in. There was no such thing as negotiations or diplomacy. You know they were going to be coming in and try to, wreck your shit. And you had to build up your city and your army strong enough for you to be able to withstand that onslaught. So I guess that's one thing about city builders. It's not necessarily just making sure that your city is strong. It's making sure that you're well defended enough just in case something bad comes down the pipe. So that's my history of games from DOS all the way to modern times of city builder games. All right, back to you, Miss Eileen.
Is that in real time
Yes, it's on
or
real time. There
it's
was no
real
pause
time?
for this one. For Utopia Creation of a Nation, there was no pause, and you were
Oh,
running against the clock.
when Sir JJ mentioned real time, you mean we are playing real time, not
Mm,
building real time. Can you
mhm.
even imagine if of
Oh, no,
all
no,
of
no,
the
no.
infrastructure are in real time,
No, yeah, you had to wait for something to be built in real time. You'd have to wait what,
like 10 years
months for a building to be done. Oh my
for a
goodness.
building to be.
Yeah,
Because
but
I
then,
played a
mhm,
similar game like this, but
mhm.
it's turn-based.
Oh, turn-based.
If you're familiar with Deadlock,
Mm.
it's
Deadlock. I
a
keep seeing
strategy
that.
game.
I still have to try that out. Deadlock.
Deadlock.
Actually, look like this, but with
Mm.
the much more better graphics. The
Refined graphics.
GUI, yeah,
I have to
it
check
has
that out. I think I
the
might have. Mm.
because that's Utopia, right?
Yes. Mm.
It really looks like a DOS game.
Yes.
With
Mhm.
Deadlock, it's more 3.1, Windows 3.1
Windows
already,
3.1. All right, I have to
and
check that out.
you have a
Mm.
um, mouse and keyboard, mouse compatibility, so you
Mm.
can play efficiently.
Mm. I have to check that out. I keep seeing the game being posted. I'm not even sure if it's on GOG on
Yeah, that
on
one.
GOG.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. All right, I'll have to check that out. I think I might have it on my library. If it is, and if it looks like Utopia Creation of a Nation, and if it plays like it, oh, there it is. It's being shown right now. It certainly does look like it. I might give it a try. Yeah. All right, definitely. Dave Scott on the chat says, "How about Death Stranding? You're basically building infrastructures across wasteland." I have to try that out, Dave. It's one of the games that became free, if I remember correctly, on Epic Games, or I could be wrong. If it's not
Yes.
on Epic Games, it could also be
Epic
on
Games.
on EA Play. I could be wrong on that one, but I'll have to give it a try. If it's got city building aspects to it, I'll give it a shot. And Daniel Dignadici of Dan Dice Gaming says, "Yo, Timeless Gamers, hello, Dan. It's great to see you. Thanks very much for dropping by. Very, very happy that you're here." Dan Dice is a very good friend of ours. He is one of our loyal followers, and thanks very much, Dan, for showing up. Oh, there you go. And we
There.
have the footage of Death Stranding right now. It certainly does look like it's got city building
Um,
aspects to it.
on this footage is trying to build a bridge
Hmm.
from
Yeah.
this spot to the other side of that river.
Hmm. Well, I mean like I mentioned before, one of the defining aspects of city builders is that you're usually from the point of view of the overhead point of view, and it's very rare that you see building, you see a city builder where you are building from the ground level. And if Death Stranding has it, I might give it a shot. I'll give it a try. Uh, of course, pending whether my computer is strong enough, of course. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
And
so
of
that's
course, from
trending, featuring
Mhm.
Mr. Norman Reedus
With it. Yeah.
of the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
See,
Yes.
see the footage right there.
And
It is
Mm,
so easy building it with, I don't know,
mm,
laser technology, building bridges,
mm.
yeah.
It's certainly
nano
it's
machines,
interesting. It's
three D
intriguing.
Nano
printing,
machines. Yeah,
Hey,
nano
the
it's
3D
machines and
print.
3D printing, guys. That's how
yeah.
that's how they do it in the
Uh,
future.
Hmm. Oh, there
that's
you
how
go.
you do it with Hideo Kojima.
That's how you do it
Of
with
course.
Kojima.
I mean, Hideo Kojima, you know. All right, Romel Bonsillo in the chats. Romel Bonsillo, Core Gundam plays. Hello, Romel. It's nice to see you. He says, "Good evening, TG fam." Thanks very much, Romel. Very, very happy that you're here. And he says, "Norman Reedus supremacy." Let's go.
Go, Norman.
There you
We
go.
had a lot of Norman Reedus fans here.
Hmm.
I'm actually also a fan, I would
Wow.
say.
Did I hear correctly? The sidebar. Did I hear correctly that he's going to be starring in a new series as Norman
It's a
Reedus?
spin-off of it. It's a spin-off of its own. Yeah, it's a spin-off
Very
of The
cool.
Walking Dead, but he's the main guy.
I
It's
have to check
actually
that out.
finished already, the first season.
Oh, it is. Oh, I'll have to
Yes.
check that out. I'm so behind with pop culture nowadays. What can I say? Anyway, as a retro guy,
Which is weird.
yeah,
Ain't the character of Norman Reedus just a TV made character, not originally from the comics?
I believe
That's
so. I
true.
mean, I do recall reading
I think in the
a few issues of the Walking Dead comic, and I don't recall coming across this
His
character
character
in
is
the
not
early
there. I
part.
mean, as far as
Mm.
I know, this is
Mm.
the deputy is just it's just added in the
Oh.
show, not necessarily in the comics.
That's funniest thing.
Sidebar.
Sometimes, yeah, sidebar. Sometimes even sometimes the unplanned becomes the most popular part of the show or the video game.
True.
All right, so back to you, Miss Eileen.
So, how about you, Sir JDM? I know you're not much into city builders, but what were your experiences with city builders on which platforms?
I have only played PC and on PS1 because that's where I played Constructor on the
Mm.
PS1. And it's
That
really hard to see because I got um the PAL version, and it doesn't really like scale properly on our TV. I don't see the those descriptions below because it gets cut by the in the screen. So I just did this, I just built this, then that's it. I didn't really
Constructor
understand the
PS1.
game back. Yeah. It was ported to on the PS1 for the
Ah,
PS1.
there you go.
But I think it was a Windows
Yeah,
95
it was a
game.
Windows game.
uh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
this one.
I mean,
yeah,
it
that
certainly
one.
looks intriguing. I keep getting that game in all the platforms in PlayStation One or on PC. It's even sitting here right here on my GOG account, but I never get the chance to play it. It looks intriguing, and it sounds like it might be fun because of the fact that you're building a city, but you've got the mafia breathing down your
Yeah,
neck.
yeah.
Did is it because that you took out a loan from them and they're monitoring where their money is going? Is that the
Yeah, about
premise
that.
of it?
Well,
yeah,
why is the mafia up your ass?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So
I
you
mean,
actually have
are they supplying you the stuff? Are they funding you or?
Yeah,
it's more
let
like territories.
that
So you can actually have
territory.
enemies on this game. So
Uh-huh.
you can have your own mobs and they have their own. So you can
Mhm.
attack the other, not
The
really
other
city,
family?
but more in region. Yes, the
Uh-huh.
other families.
The
You
other
can attack the
family?
other family, so you can like
Oh,
not really
so
conquer,
basically
but
you're building a mafia city,
Yes, it
a
sounds
mafia
like
yeah,
it.
base for
Yeah.
yourself.
Somehow like that. Yeah.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
And you're the innocent contractor. Okay, I guess I'm building this city for the mob. Then
yeah. So
I
this
mean,
game is
and
actually so much
maybe.
fun, but it's so difficult, even
and
on easy level.
if you lose their money, do they make you sleep with the fishes? Is that what happens?
Oh no! I
Well, it's
mean,
not really,
Yeah.
whatever hole you're digging, they're gonna put you down there.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. Just see the game over cutscene, and
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
yes,
Okay.
you'll know.
That doesn't sound ominous at all. But yeah,
Because
it
it
like
involves
mm.
it involves grave and the cement and
Oh my gosh.
something
Yeah,
like that.
you have to wear cement shoes and you go sleep with the fishes. Yeah, pretty much.
yeah.
It certainly does look intriguing. I would definitely give this a go. Although I do hear according to JDM that the PS1 graphics aren't up to snuff though, because of the fact that I'm imagining that it's very blocky, JDM for PlayStation 1.
Maybe because I was playing the PAL version,
Mhm.
and the
Why? What?
TV is not
You didn't
compatible
realize
with
that you
the.
need to adjust your screen?
Yeah.
Okay,
Because
that's
there's
probably it.
no
Mhm.
there was also no option to adjust the screen.
Ah,
Mm.
okay,
Well,
okay.
that's the thing. With all
But
televisions, because
Mhm.
as in the Philippines, it's just NTSC automatic, like a
mm,
4.3.
I see, I
So
see.
and at that time when the old televisions during the early 90s, there's no setting to to even change the aspect ratio or the resolution of your television, not
Mm,
until when the LED flat screens were introduced.
mhm.
So
I see.
so depending on which country you live back in the early 90s. So if you live in the US, or if
Mhm,
you live in Asia, chances are it's just 4.3,
mhm,
60 hertz.
mhm.
Go to
mm,
Europe, it's always 50.
50.
I
And
see.
Their
sometimes
televisions are built different.
the color doesn't come out right
Yes.
when,
Mm.
or
Ah,
worst case, the screen will be grayscale or
We're
in black
mm,
throwing
and
shade
white.
to Sir Dan. Sir Dan's TV.
mm.
Dan, TV sucks.
Oh, we'd like to acknowledge in the chats though, Mr. Errol Sim, who says Sim City binigyan ng classmate through floppy. Yeah, that is a lot of how old games got transmitted way back when. We exchanged floppy disks, and not
Yeah,
the hard floppy disks, the
yeah,
3.5 ones either. We're talking about the 5 and 1/4 ones,
Five.
the
Floppy,
really
floppy.
floppy disks, the ones that if you looked at it wrong, you'd get bad sectors on it already. So,
yeah.
and you'd be very had to be very careful with it. And of
You
course,
can
we'd
actually
also like
revive those.
yeah,
And
that's
that's
true.
And the
also
TV.
why they invented the word shareware, because you
Yes,
can
yes,
share
very
Ah, yeah.
true, very true. And
those floppy disks.
we'd also like to say hi to Baruna Royka, Gami Tagli on Twitch. Very happy that you're here again, Gami. So happy that our regulars are here. Let's not forget everybody here, not just here in the panel, but also in the chats. We listen to everything that you say. So if you guys want to put in whatever opinion you have about city builders or almost anything under the sun, we'll be very glad, except for what Dan put up a little bit earlier to read it
Share,
out onto
share,
the onto everybody.
shareware games are basically politically correct term for pirated games.
Yes, yes, but they found a way to spin it so that you shared it
It's
legally. That was
shareware.
great. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
shareware. What can I say? The 80s and the 90s they were breeding grounds for innovation. That was our time back in retro. All right, back to you, Miss Eileen.
So, by the way, sharers were like demos
Mm,
because if it's multi-level games, you get like the first stage, and they would say mail in
mm,
your order to address PO box blah 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 and pay 299 something like that. So I
yes.
guess
Mhm.
really old remembering those types
And
The
of.
garbage can next door.
I mean, you would they would also be shared through old BBS boards, bulletin boards,
Yeah.
and what do you call that? MIRC and things like that. So it
Yes,
would yeah,
MRC.
those
Oh
were
my
the
god,
days.
MYRC.
Yeah. And
That's
Gamitag
how
this
I
is
get
at
my
least
anime before.
oh there you go, precisely. And Gamitag this says at least it has a cover art printed. Yep, very true. At least it
True.
still had the cover art.
True.
Not like when you went to Brashear, all you got was the discs and maybe photocopies of your old, manuals. Anyway, continue. Okay.
How about you, Joe? I know you're not a player of City Builders, and you found a way to look for a JRPG with
Oh yeah,
City Builder elements. Which platform was
I
it?
I found a way. Shareware.
Sure.
I have some sharewares too. Now, like I mentioned before, the earliest recollection that I had was a PS1 with the three kingdoms. But lately for this episode, I did play a glimpse of it. As far as time would let me, Arc
Mhm.
Riser for the SNES, Super Nintendo,
Mm,
and Dark Cloud 1 for the PlayStation 2.
yes.
Well, I only played enough just so I can rant about what I like and what I didn't like anyway. But more on that later.
Mm,
Yeah. So maybe people in the chat are wondering why I'm asking which platforms we played them on. So maybe as we discuss our games, we could say why we like them on that particular platform. Because personally, for me, I like PC gaming better because you have the keyboard and the mouse. So more on that later. So let's move
PC
on to
Master
the,
Race.
PC Master
yeah.
Race. Mobile hashtag mobile gaming overlords. There you go. All right, continue, Miss Eileen. Continue.
So onto the games. Maybe let's go to Sir JDM first. His
Mm,
pick before we move on to our own picks.
sounds
Sir
good.
JDM, what would be your picks for our city builders?
For me, it's going to be Settlers 2 for the
Nice
PC.
choice. Very good
1990.
choice.
I'm not sure if it was 96 or 97
Mm,
because the first time I heard of it, I found it in a demo disc from the Ultra Game Players magazine that I
mm,
got in 1998. And I started playing it, and I think that's the early one of the earliest city building games that I played. Yeah, that
this,
one.
yeah, describe it for us, JDM. Describe Settlers too.
So Settlers 2 is city building game. I, it it's somehow medieval fashioned,
Mm-hmm,
and the game is much more in the logistic side of the city building genre.
mm-hmm,
So what you can see on the screen for everyone who's in the audio podcast, you
mm-hmm,
can see these different types of buildings, and in between them you have those roads that you
mm-hmm,
create where those workers will be using to transport their goods, for example the stones and the wood. It's not like the typical strategy game like Civilizations where um, it's well balanced. You have economy, you have your military units. This one is more on the logistics and economic side of things.
mm-hmm,
So you need to spread out your territory with these buildings, and uh, you draw the roads manually or automatically or manually. You need to um, watch for the terrain, and you need to you need to build those buildings on those terrain that will benefit the production. For
mm-hmm,
example, this wood you need to build it near the woodlands, or you also have these like farms
mm-hmm,
in the prairies, or and those stones you can build mines near the mountains. So this is more on as I've said, more on the logistic side of the genre. So
mm-hmm,
it's not, you have these military aspects as well, but it's not it's quite different from the other strategy games that we have gone to learn. So this is, I think, the earliest city building game that I have played before I play those other games like Sim City, because I didn't know about those games back then early in the 90s.
mm-hmm,
So, and it's quite relaxing to see those people um, walking around.
mm-hmm.
'Cause sometimes it's um, if you see other games, there's no animation when they're stationary, or they don't uh, like stroll around,
Mm-hmm.
or in
Actually,
Sim
I
City games.
prefer games like city building games like this, like with actual people moving around, because
Yeah.
that's how you know they're doing their shit. Because that's how you know they're doing the actual constructing, right?
Mm, very true.
If you zoom in close, you can actually see them carrying those stuff, which in SimCity we we only see like ants
Mm-mm.
that are walking in the streets.
Yes.
And I think
The cars.
that's because of the limitations of the DOS games before.
Mm.
And this one is um, mid already mid or late 90s, so
Mm.
the graphics is better. So they maximized the graphics and added those little characters here and there. And yeah, so that is Settlers. You have different modes in the game. You can play the campaign. I haven't really played the campaign yet
Mm.
because I like to do the free building stuff.
Mm.
And
Sorry, I'm sorry to interject. So I'm pausing the footage here.
Mm.
What is this I'm looking at? There are a lot of What is this? Flags, hammers, pickaxes. What is this? Some
yeah, that's
houses.
where
Those yellow bits and pieces in there.
those
What's
flags
that?
are they're like waypoints if you're into those strategy games like Red Alert 2,
Mm.
where you
Like
can
this.
place like waypoints where to direct where your units need to be.
Mm.
So
Ah,
it's
so
like their
you're telling
guide.
me
It's like their GPS. So those flags are that's where you can place those roads from one building to another. Then
Mm.
you can also see these little tiny buildings here, icons. That's where you can build those buildings.
ah,
Yeah.
So
So you're
those are
only
potential
yeah,
buildings that you can build, and the flags are where your units can travel to.
yeah,
You can assign them to go to. I see, I see. Okay, it's very different from, like I said, Utopia, Creation of a Nation. You don't see the people moving around the roads. In this case, in Settlers, you definitely do see them moving around. You definitely see them,
yeah,
going about their daily business, carrying
yeah.
logs, carrying their supplies, and things like that. It's it's very detailed, and it's you can see
um,
the progress of technology.
And
I
just
can see there's this like a blue barricade. What is this? Is that the
Hmm.
perimeter? Is that?
Yes.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, you cannot go
that's
outside there.
that's the boundary of your territories. You
Hmm.
can
Ah,
go outside once you reach the borders,
Hmm.
Mm.
so you can go to other
But
territories.
the blue barricades are basically the extent of your influence, where you can build,
Yeah,
how far you can build.
right,
I
right.
see, I
yeah.
see. Okay, okay. Oh, yeah.
And they even have the 10th year anniversary of this
I saw
back
that.
in
Hmm.
2008. It's the
Hmm.
same game.
Okay.
It's like a remastered. You
Hmm.
have now the true 3D experience of this game.
Oh, very cool. I
And
that's
if you notice, it looks these walking guys looks like lemmings. If you have played lemmings
Looks like a
yeah,
slave.
a little
in the
bit. Yeah,
DOS games, right?
I
it
was
does
gonna
remind me
say.
a
And
little bit. Yeah.
yeah, if you look at them, they look like lemmings. And
Mm.
then I
True.
think that's why they call it settlers. So you can see the
Mm.
settlers moving around.
I see. Okay. Well, it's very cool. There is no combat aspect to this, is there, JDM? To settlers?
There's still a combat system, but
Mm.
you can't really control them. You just what I mean is that
Mm.
you can't control them
Mm.
like you do in Red Alert 2.
I see.
You can only click on the unit, then go to this territory, then
Oh,
there's like
um,
battle.
Mm.
speaking of units or JDM, so I'm stopping the footage again on this
Mm.
activity window. So there are geologists and scouts.
Mm.
Yes.
So what are their functions?
So these people they try to they're like your guide to um for you to learn which building is like much more compatible on that part of the terrain.
So basically,
And
the
the scout
geologist
is
tells
yeah,
you how best to optimize your
yeah.
resources. Is that it?
but
I
it
see.
but
Okay.
it doesn't mean that you have to um you have to heed his advice
Hmm.
on what building should be placed in there.
Okay.
It's just trying to recommend or suggest
oh, you should,
like
oh,
an efficient way.
you shouldn't be building somewhere there in the caves. But what do I know? I'm just a geologist.
I'm just here to recommend.
Yeah.
If you want to if you want to build your greenhouse inside of a cave, that's perfectly fine. It's your right.
What do I know, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, you're using scouts. Oh, there are wild animals over there. But
Mm,
if you want to build your livestock garden there, sure, why not? What do I know? I'm just a scout.
yeah. I mean, I got paid anyway, so whatever.
I already got paid. You
I
All
can
right.
imagine. I can imagine those little people really thinking that, like, I got paid anyway, whatever, man.
So at what we said earlier, it's really the freedom that makes fun. City
Hmm.
uh, games of this genre is like so. You really have the freedom to do the things that you would like.
Yes. Within the parameters of the game, as long as the game does not set a hard limit. Nah, you can't build here, you can't
Mm.
go there. As long as you can do it in the game, you are allowed
Yeah,
to. You can see what happens.
yeah.
you
That's
really are drawing the roads. What the hell? Wow.
Yeah.
yeah. You can manually draw the roads. Yeah.
Mhm.
And what I like about this game is as much as I would love to play this
Mm.
for hours, it's really relaxing to watch other people play it. Like
Mm.
what's his name? Gamer Zach.
Mm.
He did a playthrough of this last year, and I have fun watching him. I even shared my experiences with the game in the
Oh,
Mm.
you know what?
comments,
I
and
can see myself watching this kind of playthroughs, and I'll be cussing everything that he does. Why are you putting it there? Why are you building it there?
Well,
yeah,
the
it
one advantage though of watching a city builder is that you don't experience vertigo. A lot of people who watch first person shooter games watch people play games like
I hate those.
Fortnite or yeah, they actually experience a lot of vertigo because their
Changing
brains
cameras.
want them to go one direction and the player goes a different direction, so it's like your brain has to go in two different directions. It's really hard. Whereas if you're watching a city builder game, there's no such thing as vertigo. It's an overhead view usually, and you're just watching the player make choices. Of course you might not agree with the choices, but at least it doesn't cause you vertigo.
yeah. Hey, by the way,
That's
I would
for the
like
fun.
to
There's for the fun games.
give a shout out to Otako Sama who said he or she played the Settlers too.
Hey, Otako-sama, thank
I
you
think
very
I'm
much
not
for
the
being here in
only
the
one who's
chat.
playing Settlers too.
I mean, there's Settlers too. Like I said, like you said, it's already been the 10th anniversary edition. It's popular enough to merit a remaster or
Mm.
a remake. So there are people like us who like doing city builder games. All right, very cool. Any what's is there a second choice for your game, JDM?
Second choice it would
Jake Belmont
be
says, "Your choice, your music mix."
Mix.
I miss Mix.
Very true, very true.
Oh, whatever happened to Mix? Is Mix still around?
Is Mixed TV
Yeah,
still up? No
Yeah,
more.
I think it's
it's still
Oh, it
Oh,
is.
it's still there. And like
Hmm.
MTV, they're also showing movies sometimes, not
Oh,
music,
what?
okay.
on
I don't know.
weekends.
Come on, MTV, bring back music videos.
Yeah.
yeah.
Last time I saw MTV was showing nothing but the
Reality TV.
reality TV, reality
Yeah.
Okay.
TV. It's like,
They
Just,
had
just,
reality TVs back
just give
then.
me Beavis and Butthead and Daria. I'm good.
oh.
Na 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 na.
I mean, yeah. Nowadays, mostly it's the streaming channels that play music videos like Vivo TV or something. Anyway, continue, JDM.
So second game for me, it's going to be Deadlock to Shrine
Mm.
Wars
Oh, there you go.
for the PC as well.
Mm-hmm.
Windows 95 back
Nice.
in 96 or 97. It's
Hmm.
also one of the games that I played on the demo disc that I got from Ultra Game Players in back in March 1998,
Mm.
and I
Deadlock
played,
2 Shrine Wars. Is that it?
yes,
Okay. Hmm.
from Accolade.
From
Accolade
Accolade. Okay.
and Cyberlore, if I remember correctly. I think it's Cyberlore.
Hmm.
So in Deadlock 2, just like what was shown earlier, Utopia, um it's it's a strategy game, but it's turn based.
Oh, okay.
It's city. It's somehow of city building, and because
Ah,
you
it
have
certainly
to
does look like a
yeah.
Utopia
Yeah.
creation of a
But
nation.
it this
I'm
is
definitely gonna have to
yeah.
play this.
This one is like futuristic,
Hmm.
and also uh it's city building. It's also like Settlers. It's you're trying to expand your territory as well, but
Hmm.
first you need to build your cities first. So here you see the hydroponic farm. We have the hydroponic farm as well
Oh,
here
I didn't realize
in
you can use
yeah.
Aquaman to be your builder. Is that Aquaman? Lots of Aquaman. Lots of
Yeah,
Aquamen
yeah.
representing the orange and green.
Yes,
This gives
that
XCOM vibes for me.
XCOM,
yeah,
yeah, a little bit.
yeah,
That's true.
XCOM. And I think in this video it's showing the human race here, because you have several kinds of races. You
Oh.
have the Tarth, who looks like large, really large red monsters that resembles a dog.
Hmm.
They're like gnolls in Dungeons and Dragons.
Gnomes, yeah.
And yeah, and the other ones, you have the chichit, that they're like the ants. They look
Hmm.
like ants, anthropomorphic ants.
Okay.
And you also have the Mog. Those you have aliens here.
Mm.
Those one of the alien races here,
Hmm.
and they're good with metallurgy, metals and minerals.
Hmm.
So each race has a different
Specialty.
specialty. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, so going back to the city building elements, you can build housing complex.
Hmm.
You can also build those buildings that provide or gather resources, like
Hmm.
uh, first you can only dig up iron. Then you can also build these factories to manufacture those
Hmm.
iron and turn them to steel.
Hmm.
Then they also got if you have money, you
Hmm.
can do some advanced factories that can manufacture iron to
Hmm.
endurium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the Injurium, yeah.
Hmm.
And Tritium, that's the most valuable metal that you can get from iron, because they're trying to process the iron into different valuable metals.
Hmm.
So tritium is the most valuable metal resources here that you can use to build advanced buildings
Hmm.
and military units as well.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
you're try
for
yeah.
those of the audio in the audio portion of the podcast, you if you are I'm describing what I'm seeing right now. It's basically a 3D isometric point of view
Mm,
from looking down onto a city, and you are. It's much like Utopia: Creation of a Nation. It seems to be a futuristic city builder game where it's not even located on Earth anymore. It's from a different. It's on a different planet, and it looks like you are building according to territory all the all these futuristic. Oh, there you go. We have an invasion of the
Yeah.
enemy. I'm imagining they're doing battle against your city, and I guess it's up to you on how well your defenses were laid out for you to be able to fend them off. I would say this looks like a spiritual sequel, definitely, JDM, to
Yeah.
Utopia Creation of a Nation. I would definitely play this, and the fact that you're not just playing the humans, you can actually play different species, and
Mm-mm.
you can play them as you can play them, with their different advantages and disadvantages. I'm imagining it's going to be a lot more longevity for somebody like me who is into this kind of thing. So yeah, building cities, building fortifications, building up your resources, building up your population. One amazing aspect of city builders is that you're not just focused on building your military. You have to worry about the money, you have to worry about the power, you have to worry about the food, you have to worry about the defenses, you have to worry about how happy your citizens actually are. It's
Yeah.
a fine balancing act, really, and it looks like Deadlock 2, the Shrine Wars has it in spades. Continue, JDM.
And even if because you can build housing lots, there's only a limited amount of people that can live in one territory. So I think
Hmm.
it's around like 5,000 per territory,
Oh.
uh, depending on the territory, because there are stones or like a wasteland, uh,
Hmm.
one s- one square of wasteland. So
Hmm.
you can only have like 4,500 depending on the
Hmm.
number of the unused grid.
Uh-huh.
So also you have yeah, you have taxes to
Hmm.
take care of as well,
Okay.
and make sure that the settlers are have enough food, because some they will like to uh they will they will protest that they don't have any food.
Hmm.
Or even if you go to the black market,
Hmm.
you started dealing with the black people from the black market, they will
Hmm.
get like those rumors or scandals
Hmm.
going on the next turn. Some of them will become inactive.
Hmm.
They will go home and leave the building shut, especially um, your farms.
Hmm.
So there will be no food. So you have to get a mind of that. And I think the only time that you will get bad rumors from dealing with the black market is when you're playing as humans, because they're much prone to scandals and
Of course we are.
those rumors.
Of
Yeah.
course, yeah.
I think
It's a national pastime. It's a species pastime. Yeah,
I
It's
think
the folly of being human. It's human nature.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's human
absolutely.
nature.
Mm-mm. Or in Filipino parlance, it's called chismis. Yan.
Yes. You have the marites.
The
Yes, the
marriage.
marites.
Okay.
Exactly. There
Yeah.
you go.
So pardon me to interject, but one of the
Mm.
things that turns me off with city
Mhm.
building games, especially
Yeah.
with the new ones,
Mhm.
there are a lot of tabs. There are a lot of
Mm.
icons
Mhm.
in. Like I'm freezing the right now. What
Yeah.
the hell are all of this? I can
Uh,
see metal beams. I can see coins. I can see
Mm.
logs, rolls of wood. Well, I
That's
yeah.
the
mean,
that's the thing, Joy. And
it's
think of it this way: each one is essentially a stat
Mm.
for your city. I liken it to like again. I'm harkening back to the beginning of our video. Every city is basically a character. Every city is basically a character that you build the stats to. So if your character and resources too. So the resources are basically your coinage, and the stats of the city is basically how strong it is. If your stat is running low on a particular one, like power, then you're not your electric power, then your city won't be able to run with enough energy for that particular for your particular cause. If you need a certain amount of power for you to be able to operate the city efficiently, if you don't have enough of it, then you're going to have rolling blackouts. and your
This is
productivity is going to be affected. So things like that.
this is where the red alert to
Yes.
the red alert
Aspect.
aspect kicking in.
Yes,
So
exactly.
so how do you get your money from this? Because in red alert
Mining.
you have ores and you mine your
Mhm.
ores. So this is
Yes,
just
mine your
mining.
ores. Sometimes
Uh,
you also do commerce with different cities.
So
You do
how do you
production.
get your cash?
in this game, you
Mm.
can get money by not sure if it's showing here. Ah, you
Mm.
see that one that looked like an airport. It's actually an
Yes.
airport or an
Hmm.
Air Force base that you
Hmm.
Yeah.
can because in one building, for example, like this, a production building like the factory and the airport,
Hmm.
there's a pool there that you can put people into.
Hmm.
They do different functions. They can do um sell parts or something like that. They
Hmm.
That's how you gather money. You can
Hmm.
put people in there to work, uh to sell things. You can also place them in a pool where they could build military units. There's
Hmm.
also buildings like the museum that you can put people to boost your morale for the next turn.
Hmm.
So every
And
building has their own purpose.
yeah,
Yes.
So
they
right.
so one
Right.
building, they have different things that you can do.
Hmm.
So you have also hospitals that also boost your morale, your
Hmm.
people's morale.
Yes.
And there's also a building that you can train your military units.
Hmm.
And uh, what are uh, there's also like a tech club that you can um the tech lab has two purposes. You
Hmm.
can research, you see that one there which says ion weapons. That's
Hmm.
the technology bar.
Okay.
So it when
So
you
you've got a
place a
tech
research,
tree.
yeah,
Mhm.
you
You've
get
got
a
a
tech
tech tree
tree.
basically. Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. So basically, you're researching a particular technology, and it's your way of leveling up your character, shall we say?
Mm.
For that
So you
particular.
can get the
Mhm.
next technology.
Yes,
It,
to increase your stats.
Yeah, there's even a technology here that you can do time dilation if you get
Ooh.
it to the like the edge of the tech tree,
Okay.
which gives you like 100 or 500 of all research
Hmm.
resources every
Okay.
turn, because it's like that they can see the future, and
Hmm.
you can travel in the future and get resources on the
Hmm.
next turn, something like that.
The spice must flow. What can I say? And
Yeah.
very cool. So that's it. Dan Faulkner says Deadlock 2 looks very cool. Only five pounds on Steam. I'm nabbing that. Well, there you go, JDF. You've made a sale. Okay.
Yes.
And let's see. Somebody in the chat, we also have Jake Belmont who says, ang rentahan dati ng Win 95, 50 pesos, non 50 per hour. He says Windows 95 computers back then were rented at 50 pesos per hour. That's kind of steep, but with the gameplay
Yes.
that you
Mhm.
become that becomes available to you, it's a really good deal. And he says Battle Realms lang naabutan ko nun. Battle Realms is a real-time strategy game that he got to play back then. Really, really good game. If anybody's interested in real-time strategy, fighting games, not fighting games, conflict games, Battle Realms is also a good one. All right. Nice, very cool. Good choices, JDM. Good choices. I have Deadlock sitting in my library. I'll have to give both of them a try. Deadlock 1 and Deadlock 2. Mhm.
All right.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Sir JDM. Those were really nice picks. I
Hmm.
was looking at JoJo's team wherever I can find and wishlisted
Yeah.
those games already. They look really appealing, especially the first one, the Settlers. I
Hmm.
really like the animation.
Man,
That's true.
that's the thing about this. That's the thing about this show. Basically, we'll learn about all of these amazing games when we start wish listing games on our on our markets, and we start buying them whenever they go on sale. We're basically selling to each other.
Yes. So when you hear my keyboard clanking,
Yeah, I
I'm
know. That's
already
Miss Eileen
on
is
another
already
tab.
putting it. Yeah, Miss Eileen is already putting it on her wish list. Although to answer your question, Joe, there's a lot of tabs for city builders because of the fact that we love to have access to all the information, as much information as possible at any given time for city builders. Because at any moment, sometimes when it's a real time city builder, you have no chance to stop the game for you to look over the spreadsheet. You have to be able to be click on something and learn. All right, we're running low on this resource, or all right, we need to. People are asking for this particular building to be done already, like a children's crash or an entertainment dome, something like that. So
and
people will, yeah. Mhm,
and that is the thing.
mhm,
Well, that's a good way to
mhm,
look at it. That
mhm,
one of the things that I didn't like even
mhm.
before
Yeah.
with the earlier games,
Mhm.
sometimes they're just icons,
Yes. Mhm.
and unlike the later games, when you highlight these icons, there's an
Yes.
explanation of what they are.
The mouse overs. Okay.
But if you have the mouse clicker on it,
Mhm.
but on some of the console games, they don't even have that. So it's just okay. What the hell is this for? What does
Yeah.
this button do? What does this tab do?
Mhm.
So and speaking of those, what the hell should I go? Where the hell should I go? What the hell do I
Yes.
do? And since
Mhm.
Sir Dan is there, why not
Mhm.
just show his game of choice for this episode,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
Actraiser.
Actraiser.
Since Sir
Yes.
Dan,
Actraiser.
Alright.
Yes. Mhm.
so
Let's
let's
have
go with Sir Dan real quick.
yeah. Let's have a listen to Dan's choice.
Hello, Timeless Gamer crew. Thank you for having me on the show again. We're going to talk about my choice of sim games, and it's going to be from the Super Nintendo. This one, it's ActRaiser. It's a it was released in 1990 in Japan, but we didn't actually get it in Europe until 1993. Now, I was quite lucky that I'd got quite a few contacts and friends that could get imported goods, so I actually got this pretty much at the like about a month after its release. So I got to play it earlier. Obviously, it was the Japanese version, and the Japanese version. I mean, this is a game with a lot of text, but even though it's got a lot of text, I still managed to work my way around it. I didn't have I couldn't read the instruction booklets. There were no online tips or anything. It was just a case of experimenting. So it's quite an intuitive game in that respect, and I loved it. I really did love it. I mean, it's a curious blend of genres anyway. When we say it's a sim, it's actually half action platforming and half god sim game. And when you finish it, you can play it as just a pure platformer, or action platformer. Sorry. So it removes all the god sim elements. But the meat and potatoes, the bigger chunk of the game is the god sim elements, and they're all done really, really well as well. You don't control your people and what they build and that directly like you would in a lot of other games like SimCity. In this, you more influence them, like I suppose a god would in many ways, and basically what you do is you guide them to different areas of your map, and as you're doing that, you unleash various miracles that can be anything from like lightning to wind to earthquakes. You know what I mean? Like stuff like if the windmills aren't moving, you chuck a gust of wind about, and that keeps your people happy and producing. You also control a little angel who goes around protecting them and killing all nasty demons. So it's a really curious blend of genres, and it's really unique. It really is, and it's fantastic. It works really great for something that's so outlandish. And as a young lad, I remember like kind of being blown away. This really blew me away. How different it were. I mean, obviously, I'm a Sega man, but this was this is my second favorite Super Nintendo game of all time, and this was a game which really kind of made Nintendo a force for me. I wasn't into the NES. It didn't grab me at all. There were never any Nintendo. Many Nintendo machines in the arcades. You got Punch Out. You might see a Mario machine, but they weren't relevant really in an arcade sense. And this is one of the games. This and Super Mario World kind of put Nintendo on the map for me. And for me, it's actually a really big shame that the Super Nintendo didn't have more games like this. When I got my Super Nintendo and I got this game, this were like, wow. This blew me away, and I was like, when people talk about Super Nintendo versus Mega Drive, I think had the Super Nintendo had more games like this on it, I'd have been as much as a Super Nintendo fan. But unfortunately, it kind of went a different path. It went back to its more kiddie roots, really. But ActRaiser itself is just a really fantastically, superbly crafted game. Do you know what I mean? It's just so polished. It's so playable. It's so well paced. And when I did finally get to play it in English, the story is actually really good as well. You know what I mean? It's not a standout story like by Epic in Epic terms, but it's got a lot of good story beats. It's got quite a few emotional story beats in there, which I was really surprised about. Like I say, having already finished it many times on the Japanese version, when I played the English version, that kind of added another layer that blew me away. The action's great. The action is the platforming sections are fantastic. So it's really good they're in there. They really add some more dynamics to the game itself. And each platforming section and each God Sim section has its own theme. Like one of my favourites is one called Blood Pool, and it's got like a horror theme, and it's just really creative and really interesting. And it's also got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Yuzo Koshiro, who did the music for this. And as Sega fans will know, Yuzo did a lot of Sega games, such as Revenge of Shinobi, and he's just he's a master worker. He's the Streets of Rage man. He's the boy. And he did the soundtracks for this, and the soundtrack is absolutely amazing. It's probably one of Yuzo's best, to be fair. I'd probably have it in my top 3 Yuzo tracks, to be honest. I think it's an absolute belter. Definitely, Revenge of Shinobi and Streets of Rage 1 might pip it, but it is an amazing soundtrack. It's got some fantastic boss fights. It's got really great boss fights, and that kind of blew me away as well, because I'm getting all this great action in what is essentially a God Sim game. You know what I mean? And building these, it was so satisfying building these civilizations, and then going and killing yourself the bad guys who were trying to destroy him. So it's just an epic game, really. It really, really is. And something else that's pretty amazing about it, I mean, it's a really early Super Nintendo game. It's graphically fantastic, and it's barely got any slowdown, which is amazing for a Super Nintendo game that's so graphically impressive. The only time you really experience slowdown is when you use some of the magics. There's one particular asteroid stroke star magic, and that slows everything down. But that actually feels in context with the event. It feels like a bit of a slow-mo moment, so I can forgive that quite easily. So I would definitely recommend checking this game out. It did get a remake. The remake's total shit. I would totally avoid it. They totally mess up they add extra fort defense elements, and they totally mess up the game's balance entirely. I think it looks garbage. I think the combat's not as. They add more to the combat, but it just doesn't flow as well. It's not as challenging. I mean, it's not a particularly challenging game. I finished it in one day as a kid, and that was the Japanese version. So you'll probably waltz through it yourselves, but it's still an amazing experience. And when I say I did finish it in one day, I literally took the day off school and played it from 7 in the morning till 12 at night, and like literally just as it turned midnight, I beat the last boss. And the last boss is absolutely epic. He's a mint boss. But again, he's easy to defeat. When you know how to defeat him, it's pretty easy. But as a spectacle, he's fantastic. And it is a bit of a mind-blowing game. It's got a wicked boss rush at the end of the game and all, which works really well. And just seeing your cities evolve in that more influential way, watching the people do what they want to do, and kind of finding things and discovering for themselves, and coming to you as their god, is like, oh god, have we found this weird tablet? You know, what do you want us to do here? What's the crack? It's really good, and it's really ego boosting. You know, I like to feel like a god. I like to feel like I'm the man, and I mean, who doesn't? And that's what Actraiser feeds into. So definitely, this is, like I say, it's my second favorite Super Nintendo game of all time. It's probably a top 10 game of all time for me. It's got an amazing mix of all kinds of stuff. It's pretty much top tier everything. I think the only thing it needs is an extra difficulty level. Once you beat it, it would be great to just be able to notch it up a difficulty and play through it again that way. But yeah, definitely check this out. Wonderful game. It's about it, and yeah, do it. I'm a skimmer. Wow.
All
Well,
right.
what can I say? Dan's always got the scoop on really good stuff. Although I do remember him saying that the remake to ActRaiser was not very good. I had to ask him about this other game that looks like it might be some kind of remake to ActRaiser. It was a game called Soul Seraph. Dan, if you're listening in, you might want to check that out, Soul Seraph. But also the feedback on that one was kind of iffy. So if you guys are interested in that one as well, if you want to check out variations, ActRaiser had a remake. The
Actraiser
feedback was
Renaissance, I think, was
ActRaiser Renaissance, precisely, John. Thanks very much for that one. And Soul Seraph, if I remember correctly. So, Dan, you might want to check that one out. But again, nothing can possibly compare to the originals. And ActRaiser is one of the favorite games of one of my best friends from way back in college. His name is Patrick Ocampo. Pat, your favorite game is being featured right now. All right, back to you, Miss
I
Ellie.
remember.
Mm,
So I got ActRaiser
mm,
the last time. I think the last. I think that was a year ago when I was in the Philippines. So I found ActRaiser during the RGCP event. I saw ActRaiser, and I didn't even. And I remember Sir Joel mentioning it by name, and I have no idea what the hell ActRaiser was. I just remembered Sir Joel's mentioning the game, so I bought the game for him. And I said it was only it was only selling for like I think 1,800 pesos at the time. I think.
mhm.
I bought. I messaged him. Said, Sir Joel, ActRaiser. I think you know this game. It's only it's only 1,800 pesos. Do you want it? I said, yeah, I want it. Sure, go. So so so,
And
so,
and here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Jaw sent it
there
over.
it is, right there. So I bought the game for him, and I'm like, of course I want to test the game for myself. I put it on my Super Nintendo, and the angel comes greeting at me, right? Um, and the angel's like, "What do you want to do?" So it showed me all of those tabs, and I'm like,
Mm,
"Okay." It shows me all these tabs, and the angel's not even saying anything on what those tabs were, or um, what are they for. So I'm like, okay. So I pushed one of the tabs, and this flying saucer just hovering around this island.
yeah.
I'm like, am I supposed to go somewhere? Am I supposed to land this thing somewhere? So I tried, right?
Mm,
So I was hovering this flying saucer thing. I'm trying different. I'm trying different terrains, grasslands, water, even the volcano, anything.
Yes.
Am I supposed to land this thing so the game can proceed? I'm like, and the game's not even letting me. I'm like, what
Mhm.
the? So what am I supposed to do with this? Why Sir Joel? Why does Sir Joel likes this game? Anyway, so I'm like, so I just toss my arms in the air. I'm like, oh, as long as the game's working, that's fine.
Mm. Yeah.
I'll just give it to Sir Joel. Then, although but the other day, because when we were preparing for this episode, so I
Mhm.
downloaded the Acquisizer. Um, so I shared Word
Yes, you're weird.
into my
To be safe.
Vita. So I
Yes,
shared Word
absolutely. Yes.
Acquisizer into my Vita, and I'm saying, okay, maybe I can play Acquisizer on my Vita during my downtime at work because I'm doing the
Yes.
night shift, right?
Mm.
So for this 1 hour before I do all of my nursing shit, my nursing
Mm.
crap. So I was able to play it like for an hour. So the
Mm.
first stage, and I said, okay, this time I'm gonna look for a guide. I'm gonna look for a video walkthrough on how to do this.
Mm.
I ain't spending that 1 hour hovering around islands. Okay,
Yes,
and then and then when I saw the video guide, that's all it took.
pretty
So,
much. Yeah.
so all this time I'm playing it wrong. And it's right at uh, the first part of it is just you.
Mm.
I'm guessing this divine being, this divine biped,
Mm.
that adventure person, uh, game. And it reminds me of Castlevania, kind of.
Oh, your voice is getting a little low, Joe. I think your connection is
Um,
there you go.
yeah. The action platformer aspect of the game reminds me of Castlevania,
Yes.
kind of.
Mm-mm.
And then when I beat the first sub boss, then we come around to the city building the city building elements of the game. And I'm like, okay, so there's this angel, all right, and the city build and the city building aspect of it is also half shooter, half
Yes.
city building, because there's
Yes.
because with city building games, the way I notice it anyway, there should always be a gimmick. It's not just
Mm.
about you building stuff. It's not about you building structures. There should
Yes.
also something that hinders you on doing it. There should be
Mm-hmm.
some antagonism. There should
Yes.
be some struggle of you build
Mm-hmm.
on building on your building. So
Yeah.
basically, what we saw in the footage, there's this angel
Mm-hmm.
um, that you can control. You are shooting monsters around
Mm-hmm.
so that so that the chosen people can
Mm-hmm.
build their town in peace.
Yes.
Um, so you can assist them on building their town in peace. So the
Mm-hmm.
monsters are there floating around. The white dragon will be the one responsible on destroying your buildings. The
Mm-hmm.
black monsters, the black flying monsters, will be responsible on kidnapping your townspeople to
Mm-hmm.
prevent you in building your shit.
Mm-hmm.
You on the other hand, you're controlling the angel. You're manually flying around trying to
Mm-hmm.
shoot down these monsters, and at the same time, you're also you're trying to build your town.
Yes.
You have the power to summon lightning to
Mm-hmm.
destroy structures.
Mm-hmm.
You are allowed to force the wind if wind is necessary. If there
Mm-hmm.
are some marshlands or there are some puddles of water should be dried
Yes.
up,
Mm-hmm.
use sunlight, uh, excessive sunlight just to dry them out. If there
Mm-hmm.
are rocks to be if there are rocks or there's some mountains to be splintered over, do an earthquake. So this is the godlike simulation powers that you're allowed to,
Mm-hmm.
and then choose whatever then you're allowed to uh, choose the roads, what are the waypoints are, build your buildings, and for the buildings, not there's not really amount of variety in there. It just
Not
says
really.
build.
Mm-hmm.
Build what? So it's up to you. So the townspeople are just building houses most of the
Mm-hmm.
time. it's either house and they just and then they build random stuff. It's either plain field houses or mansions. That's it.
Mm.
There's not much variety that you can that you're allowed to build in there. I mean, just tell them to build something. Okay, okay, master. We'll be building. We'll be building the town. We'll be
Yep.
building our the town. Whatever you say, master.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, and of course there you need to see uh, so that you can build your town in peace. You really need to get rid of those monsters, and the monsters will keep on respawning anyway. So
Yeah,
the best course of action will be getting rid of the source.
yeah,
So there are apparently um, what Sir Dan didn't mention on his impressions. There are there are usually 3 or 4 locations where the monsters are coming from.
yes.
Mm.
If you are strong enough, you can send all of your villagers to go to that site to go to those monster sites, and you can seal them off
Yes.
one by one. If you can
Mm,
seal them off, the less chances those monsters will stop bothering you.
mm,
And if you manage to seal all of them, and then the game will allow you, and then the game will then prompt you on going back onto the action platformer side of things to get rid of the boss of that stage. Once the boss is defeat, there are 2 bosses on Act One and Act Two.
mm,
So if both bosses have depleted, and then all of the land has been furnished by you, everything's built, then that's the time that you're allowed to go to the next town over and start again.
mm.
Rinse and repeat.
Yes. Pretty much.
Anything,
Mhm.
anything that I missed, Sir Joel, Sir
I
Dan.
it's he basically covered everything, and I guess the only thing the only thing that I'd probably add is the platforming, the side scrolling aspects, like the Castlevania type sections. They're relatively challenging, especially for somebody who like me whose reflexes aren't up to snuff anymore. But they're not brutal. You can definitely still play through it and have yourself a good time. And and Dan said the storyline is pretty interesting. Actually, it
Thank
not
God
to
for safe
spoil
states.
for save states. Very true, very true. And to Dan's point that the storyline is interesting. I have to agree. It's more like the theological aspect of it is you're basically, not to spoil anybody's enjoyment of it, but and the game is what, more than 20 years old. If you haven't heard about how the storyline is by this time, then it's your own damn fault. So it's like, if you're basically a god trying to help your chosen people live their lives and eventually gain independence, so that the point is there would come a time where they won't need you anymore. So it's a nice little question mark as to how the theology aspect plays into everyday lives. And then it shows how some people might go a different path than your theological faith might might go. It's nice to think about how other people might react to certain divine aspects of how things happen on day-to-day life. And I'd like to say hi to Neil Trinidad of Neil Chills and on our chats. Good day to everyone. Neil, it's great to see you. Very, very happy that you're here. Excellent. So
I
yeah,
agree.
it's like I said, Joe, you covered it really well. Dan covered it really well, and he said that he's interested in Soul Seraph, which is very similar, but has a more emphasis on tower defense elements. Yeah, agreed. So there you go. You might want to check it out, Dan. All right, cool.
And I only played this game for an hour, guys.
Oh, speaking of which, how during that hour that you played it, waiting for your for your nursing crap, how did you enjoy it then?
I stopped to where the Minotaur was. So this was
Mhm.
stage
Oh
one,
yeah,
act two. Mm.
yes. Mhm.
But for the most of it, I took most of the time on the on the simulation, on the city building simulation of it,
Yes,
because you're not really allowed to do all of the god stuff
hmm right off the
freely.
bat.
You
No.
need to defeat a certain amount of monsters to regain your SP, your superpowers.
Yes.
Because you'll start with 50 SP superpower points, right?
Hmm.
And lightning will cost 20.
Yes.
Sunlight will cost 30 or something like that. So each divine miracle will cost some SP.
Hmm.
So every time that you want to level up the terrain, you need to flatten the terrain, you need to get rid of some trees, you need to destroy them with lightning.
Hmm.
So you can only use lightning like once or twice, beat some monsters to regain your SP, and do it again. So and you really need to make sure. And there's only one angel that you can control. The villagers themselves don't help you fighting these monsters willingly. So it's just the angel. So you're controlling the angel running around, right? Flying around, defeating these monsters, and at the same time you're also building. So you're micromanaging stuff.
Hmm.
So I took most time. So I took most of the hour just doing all of that.
Hmm.
But with the city with the platforming aspect of it, because of the video walkthrough that I saw, I just
Hmm.
breezed through it. I know where to go. I know which power ups to get.
Hmm.
I didn't go randomly wasting my time or anywhere.
Yeah.
Save states, of course. uh,
Save states are a
because, because,
godsend. What can I say?
yeah, because you really need the HP, all of the HP that you can get once you reach the boss fights, because
It's
the
true.
boss fights has 3 times HP than yours. So
That's true. It's true. It's true.
um,
Hmm.
and yeah, although the platforming the beating the enemies are not that particularly hard. I think one of the main reasons why they added the platforming aspect, the platforming functions of this is just to break the monotony of the
Hmm.
uh,
Mm.
of the city building elements of it. I mean, it's not enough that you're also playing a shooter game, kind of. But
Hmm.
no, tossing some platforming in there, some action platforming in there, so just to give the players a breather,
Yeah.
not to make it
Because in the 90s you got your platformers and your beat 'em up.
right.
They just need to
They kept
add
it simple.
the yeah.
With the platforming, with the action platforming, guys, they kept it simple enough, just so that it won't bog you down as well. There's no
Hmm.
point of it making it like Castlevania hard, you know,
Or Mega Man.
or Mega Man insanely hard.
True.
Anyways,
Very true.
that's Zack Riser, SNES. Back to you, Miss I.
Uh,
And thank you, Sir Joe and Sir Dan. That's really interesting. Seeing a city builder with platforming aspects as well. And it's my first time seeing that kind of city builder. That's really interesting. I
Hmm.
think I might give it a try sometime.
Like if you're playing it for the first time, you're like, oh, okay, action platformer, and then, oh, what the hell is this? I'm playing another game.
Yeah.
I'm playing a
no,
complete.
especially
I'm,
if
I'm playing a completely different game now. What the hell is this?
yeah,
What the hell is this?
es-
You're about to say
especially
JDM.
if you're a fan of a platformer and beat 'em up games, then suddenly you're playing a different game. It's like
Yes.
a
Yes.
clickbait for platformer enthusiasts.
And this is
And
why
Oh,
I
you should
think
yeah,
this
always
is
this
read
is
the
so
manual,
interesting.
guys.
yes. And they I think that's a strategy for developers to for players to actually play some different games aside from platformers and beat 'em up.
It's very true, very true. It's a way to kind of Trojan horse different genres onto players way back when. You're used to Mario, here, try this Mario like game. All right, now you're playing a city builder.
Especially in 1991, we don't
Yeah,
the internet is not yet commercial. So we
exactly.
don't
Yeah.
any
Come for
ways to
come for the action platformer. Stay for the
Mhm.
city building aspect.
Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes, yes. Exactly. Again, it's a Trojan horse.
Yes.
All right, Miss
So
Eileen, go ahead.
thank you for those. And for I'm going for my picks. My first one would be if anybody knows this, Simtown.
Same
Yes,
town.
Simtown. Yes.
So this is a 1995 game released by Maxis. So I remember that 90s era when you see the Maxis logo and you know you're in for a good time. So this one has actually a Japanese version on the Super Nintendo called SimCity Junior. That's why I said earlier SimCity Junior is different on the Super Nintendo. So this game is actually targeted more towards children.
Hmm.
Simtown. It's much smaller because yeah, it's a town. You can see houses and council buildings. And what's unique in this game is you can actually click on the buildings and it will initiate some animation.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure. Those are houses. It's more on the let's say commercial buildings that the animation happens.
Hmm.
So like there's a school, if there's a seesaw or a swing, when you click on it, it will move. Something
Yeah.
like that. So
Hmm.
it's appealing to children. And then when you click on the houses, you can actually see the interiors. Sometimes
Oh.
you can see the actual residents, so they can walk around the town. And when they
Hmm.
go home, you can see them maybe reading newspapers. So it's actually fun seeing your constituents living their lives. It's
Hmm.
what's amazing with simulation games when you see little people living in there.
Hmm. Yes.
You can actually also click the residents and you can learn about them.
Oh.
So very individualized. You can see, oh, this is like maybe Marie or that's Dan or David or whatever. Then you know who they are. They look different and they have their own personalities. Yeah, it's very limited, but it's still fun for a an old game with all the details.
But the people are
Um,
coming out right now. See?
Yeah, and
yes,
this
they're
this being a Maxis game, they're actually Sims. We're talking about like actual
Yeah.
Sims here, like from the
true,
game.
true.
And what do we know? Maybe that's the setting of the game Paperboy.
Oh,
See,
could be.
someone is.
Maybe so.
See,
Maybe that's the paper boy there, the one
I
on the
mean, heck,
bicycle.
yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him. What can I say? Will Wright, the developer of The Sims and Sim City and everything, has been a fan of many different game genres. So I wouldn't be surprised. Hmm.
Yes. So maybe what I dislike about this game,
Hmm.
well it's still there. You can see the house on the left. Behind
Hmm.
that there is like some maybe disrupted ground
Hmm.
or
Mhm.
those brown patches. What I don't like with this game is when you bulldoze something, it leaves some debris like that. And you
Oh,
have
okay.
to like remove that pixel by
Mhm.
pixel or
Ah, okay.
it's you
Okay.
can't do what we do with modern games where you
Hmm.
like highlight or
Mm.
group them. It's
Yes.
here you have to really individually remove those debris, and it's such an eyesore seeing that. You know,
Pixel,
you're
excuse me,
trying to,
pixel by pixel.
Yeah.
yes,
Seriously?
Well,
not
let
exactly
Or,
pixel, but maybe square.
yeah,
yeah,
like
Yeah,
square.
tiny
I'm,
little square by
I can,
tiny little square.
I
Yeah.
can see it
Like a
Yes,
grid.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
That
such
that
a nice
in Miss Eileen's ADB is activated.
yeah. OCD,
OCD,
OCD.
sorry about that. OCD is activated when she sees debris. That's actually a pet
Yeah,
peeve of mine
No,
when you bulldoze
actually,
a
with all
building.
of the city building games, actually, the
Mhm.
city building games are designed for the OCD people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
maybe
Very true. For the OCD people, very true. Have to admit, you make a very good point. Yeah. Mm.
true. Oh, by the way, when you see the arcade there, when you click the ball, eight
Mm.
ball, it actually will move around. So I
Oh.
hope we could see some animations in this clip, but
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can depending on the building. When you click on it, it will generate animations. Also,
Hmm.
there is you can actually have your own character
Okay.
that you have to choose and choose your look and your favorite things.
Hmm.
So
Oh shit!
you will
The Paperboy is there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Paper
okay,
Boy is definitely there.
Paperboy is there. What the hell?
there. So when you have customized your character, you will actually have your own house in the game. You cannot pick which one, but you will see your character maybe go inside your home, and
Mm.
It's so amusing. I hope other sim games you have your own character and you have your own home. Or maybe well, like in Tropico El Presidente, he does have
You
his
can
own.
also type in their
Yeah.
own dialogue.
Hmm.
Yes.
Right?
Yes you can.
So the NPCs have so for the NPCs you can actually design their dialogue.
Oh,
Mm.
not the NPCs, just yourself.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought maybe it's just
Yeah,
NPCs,
just
so it's just
yourself.
you. All right.
But the NPCs you can click them and see their personalities, like what you saw earlier with the my favorite things and such.
What the
So
hell
other
kind
this
of architecture is this? Kind of looks like the Flintstones. Kind of their houses look like the ones in the Flintstones.
yeah,
Hmm.
there are other housing structures not seen in this clip, but it's
No,
actually very
I
limited.
mean, look at the footage, Miss I. Sorry, it's so
Yes, it's
jarring. I mean, what era is this? Because you can see some of the houses there are built in the 17th century. There are houses that kind of look like built in the 80s, and there are
yes.
some built in the 50s. What is this?
It's it's not seen there, but there's actually like a triangular futuristic house, and there's a traditional Japanese house, and also even a tropical hut,
A
Tropical
tropical
hot.
hut.
Okay.
for lack of a
uh,
better term.
one
Well,
rancho ranchero
the
burger, please.
Because
tropical
it's
hut.
like
Oh,
it's a nipa hut
I miss
with
Tropical
palm
Hut.
trees.
For those of you who don't know, Tropical Hut is a burger joint in the Philippines, and they serve amazing hamburgers. Okay,
And
there
they're
and
still there.
then
They're
they're
still
still
there.
there. Next time I go back
Yeah,
to the Philippines, I am eating at Tropical Hut definitely. Anyway, back to you, Miss Eileen.
yeah. So there, I kind of forgot what the other modern buildings are. So what you
Mhm.
see is a duplex, a townhouse, what else? Apartment block, and
Is
there's
that a Taj
actually
Mahal
more.
over there? What is that?
I'm
Is
not sure. I
that
forgot what
what is that?
building that is. I think maybe a council building of
It
some
looks like a
sort.
church, kind
So
of.
there, the red one is a firehouse.
Oh
In
yeah.
front of it is the
Oh,
hardware
Ghostbusters
store,
are here. Okay.
and that's also annoying there because you can't really place the buildings and the road properly. So it's like it
Uh,
leaves some spaces there if you saw what happened. And
well,
this is the
question.
resource management.
Question.
Yes, it is.
So there's a firehouse there, so it implies there's fire. There's gonna be
Mhm.
fire in this game.
Yes, like the bigger Sim City games, sometimes there can be disasters. Like on
Disasters.
the menu there on the top, disasters.
How?
Hmm.
I think there's
Like
earthquake as well.
Oh,
what has to happen?
if you've ever played The Sims, Joe, you know The Sims are can start fires just by frying by boiling water. It happens in The Sims. So if a Sim
Oh,
boils
so it just
water,
happened. Huh, okay.
his stove explodes. He starts running around in fire, and his whole house erupts. And I guess on a macro level, if you're looking at Sim Town, that Sim probably started off the fire, and I wouldn't be surprised if the fire spreads around the whole town.
Yes. So yes, there's also disasters here. By
Hmm.
the way, another thing, um, maybe not really challenging, but it's one
Hmm.
of the things you have to keep in mind is balancing the housing and the commercial
Ah,
structures here. If you
yeah.
see in the middle top there, there's like a seesaw, and the house
Mhm.
is on the bottom end. So it
So that
means you
it's
need more
residential versus
commercial.
commercial, is that it? Residential versus commercial balance, is that the way it's supposed to be? Okay, I
Yes,
see.
So you got buildings from the projects there, and
Mm.
Yeah.
houses that you can see on the hood.
Mhm.
But the way this guy is building his city is it's not appealing to drawing people to play this game.
It's not
Mhm.
appealing to you, meaning
It's like scattered all over. Like what's happening here? Because like I said earlier, you have like that. You have to place things little square by little square. You can't do the drag and drop thingy. So yeah, it's I guess I'm looking at this game with a sense of nostalgia, but I think it doesn't really hold up to this day, unfortunately.
No, I would definitely still play it. I wasn't privileged to actually have played this, but I've only played the other ones like SimCity, Sim Ant, Sim Farm, Sim Earth, and everything. If I had the chance to play this back then, and if I get my hands on this right now, I definitely still play it. I would. Sometimes you just want to play a game, a city building game that's not as complicated as City Skylines or the really
Yes.
big ones. You you just want something simple. You want something nice and relaxed. This might be a nice little palate cleanser from the heavy duty city building games that I've been playing. So yeah, I
So
might get into it.
Miss I is looking
Mhm.
at this game with nostalgia.
Mhm.
However, she is looking at the player with
Mhm.
contempt.
Very true. That we have those moments. Like, what the heck kind of decision are you making now, player? Why are you placing that there? Why? But yeah, it's if you watch streamers or YouTube players or things like that, you definitely will see people making decisions that you completely disagree with. But it's still fun
Yes.
anyway. Like putting at that pizza joint right beside a residential household. Like what? Come
Why?
on. Can you
No, although I can
imagine?
understand, I can understand the gesture. Like
Yeah.
that's prime location right there. That means if I'm living there and I don't have time to cook, the pizza
Hmm.
place is just right next door.
Well,
Uh,
can you imagine how much of a weight gain I'll have if I have a pizza joint right next door? I just go there every single day for lunch and
Oh, see,
dinner. Come on.
and the produce shop is just right next door as well.
I mean, that one I would go for definitely. I
And
I
the tropical
understand
hot
the
dog is right
logic.
there.
Mm,
You
I
see?
understand the logic of a produce shop really close by, but a pizza joint right next door to my house. I mean, yeah, that's just an invitation for me to reach 200 pounds, right? Just in the span of a couple of months. My goodness. Okay, so Simtown. Simtown is Miss
Well,
Eileen's choice.
it's not about pizza and burgers. I mean, there's fruits and vegetables out there. I mean,
Yeah, but let's
you
be real. Between fruits and vegetables and pizzas and burgers, you know what I'm choosing, right? All right, Simtown.
There's a Pizza Hut over there, and there's a tropical hot burger right there.
Oh yeah, my goodness. I know where I'm going. And I'm sorry to have to say this, sweetie, because the missus always tries to get me to eat healthy. If that situation ever arises, you're not gonna see me anywhere near fruits and
and
vegetables, sweetie.
and how much is a salad compared to like
Oh
a
yeah, that's true.
burger?
That is actually a very valid argument,
Yes.
JDM. A salad here is close to about $6, whereas a slice of pizza is $1.50. So
Really,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
a bowl of leaves is just six
Yes, a
bucks
bowl of leaves
already.
is $6, and that doesn't include the dressing either. We're talking you have to purchase the dressing separately for $1, so that's seven
Must be
bucks right
organic.
now. Yeah, yeah, it's the organic stuff, and you buy salad dressing like ranch dressing or Caesar Thousand Island. That's another dollar, so $7.
So if people want to eat like for example like a surf and turf, can I
Mm,
just offer you water and grass?
pretty much. I mean, that's basically what's gonna
That's a
happen
surf
because
and
the
turf,
fact.
guys. To you guys who don't know what a surf and turf means, Sir Joel
Mhm.
knows.
Yeah, surf and turf is basically meat and seafood in one plate. So you get either beef and shrimp, or like maybe pork and lobster, your choice, and the surf and turf, and of course chips, or French fries, as we mentioned them here in the U.S. There you go. There you go. So Simtown is Miss Eileen's choice, and I definitely want to get my hands on it and probably give it a run through too. All right, Miss Eileen. Yeah, do you have a second choice or a runner up?
Yes. Before I move on to my second choice, Sir Dan makes a good point down there.
Hmm.
This game looks a good entry game for anyone wanting to get into city builders. I love the graphical style. Yes,
Yes.
it's really colorful and very attractive to maybe not only children but also as adults,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
maybe some city builders can get dreary and so
Yes.
very industrialized and so
Yeah.
gray.
I
Oh,
mean, like a constructor, for an example. It looks like it's a lot of fun, but staring at it for a long time can get a little, like you said, Miss Eileen, it can get a little dreary because of the color palette.
yes.
Browns and grays, and some dull yellows maybe every now and then. Whereas this one, it looks very colorful, looks very eye catching. It looks very dynamic. Yeah, I would definitely play it, especially with my daughter.
Yes. Anybody who will play it, try and experiment and clicking on the buildings because they will generate different animations.
Nice, very cool. I definitely go for that. And of course, Neil Trinidad says, "Okay, that's making me hungry." Yeah, Neil, that's the thing. All this talk about food, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I guess we're gonna have to set a future episode for management games, right, Miss Eileen? Like Restaurant
Yes.
Empire, or like the Tycoon games. I definitely play those. There you go.
Yes. Let's do.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, we can
my
do that.
second game is Urbex City Builder.
Urbex City Builder. Yeah, that's
Urbex
heavily
City Builder.
advertised on GOG right now on Good Old Games. Tell us all about it.
Yeah. So it's actually just a game released last year, 2022, but
Okay.
apparently it actually has a free. It's called Urbex City Prologue. That's
Mm,
been free for quite some time now. So this
okay.
game is developed by Estudios Kremlinois. It's actually a Chilean developer and published
Uh,
by Rock Game in Poland. So I guess
mm,
that's why it's heavily advertised on Joji because it's Polish.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then if you can see there, it's kind of like Minecraft with its low polygon, simple,
Mm.
blocky
Hmm.
style. So I
Yes.
actually like this because it's not hogging your computer's resources.
Yeah.
Unlike City Skylines.
Oh, my
Sorry, but
goodness.
for
Yeah.
my computer at least, because my laptop is old.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an advantage for me because I can have more units or structures and people in
Mm-hmm.
there, and my computer will not lag.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually nice music, but we can't play it here. So
Yeah.
just imagine some nice music in the background
Okay.
that's ambient through your gameplay. This game actually has good pacing, and the tutorial is very helpful.
Mm,
There are unique buildings and bonuses depending on the region where you choose. What's unique in this game actually is there's no money involved, no
mm.
money at all.
Okay.
So you can just place your structures here and there. If you want to change your mind, just bulldoze and rebuild. You won't have any problems with that.
Mm,
But the catch here is you have to actually manage resources. And before you get to different resources, you need to fulfill some prerequisites,
mm,
which is also the challenge of the game. You either have to maybe have certain structures situated within certain blocks of squares before
mm,
you can unlock some buildings and need to reach a certain population or need to unlock other resources to unlock another resource to unlock another building. So that's the challenge there. But it's quite a fun game. It's challenging, but not too, let's say, well, it's quite difficult, but not too difficult.
mm,
And also, what's cute in this game is you can actually have a first-person view. You can go down to your city and walk around.
very
You can meet
cool.
you can meet your constituents like hi. It's a first person. You can see them walking towards you in the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And this clip, it doesn't show it, but yeah, you can go down there
You
even
can
to
go down the
the
street level.
court.
Wow, that sounds
Yes,
interesting. That's very rare, actually, with city builders. Maybe city skylines, but then again, it's a resource hog. We're talking like if
yes,
if you run it, you're if you don't have a top of the line computer, it's gonna go chug along. But if something like this for Urbex City Builder, if you can go down to the street level and kind of observe your constituents, your regular citizens, and everything, it sounds like a lot of fun. I think I'd definitely go for that.
yes. It's so fun. You can see
And
your
you
buildings there.
yeah.
Mhm.
And the thing that you don't need money, right, to
Yes,
build those things.
Mhm.
See,
yes.
So does it have a plot or like goals to hit, or is it very open world, Miss Eileen?
For me, I think I played maybe a sandbox type.
Ah, sandbox. Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so
I haven't gone into the campaigns yet
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to see how to progress the game. I guess I'll find out myself later.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm more into the sandbox because I like to see the progress, the growth of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to the Simtown clip earlier, I like how this player is making his city.
no
It's appealing
judgment
to
to
me.
the player.
I mean, I'm not too artistic with how my city looks, but this one is very nice, especially with the park there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure how he was able to build that many parks because just building one square of that already takes up food consumption, and then you need more workers, you need more population. So it's really the challenge here. Even without the money, if you see on the right side there, those
Mm-hmm.
are the resources you have to balance. So when you see
And
the houses there, they will upgrade automatically and change or shift form depending on the structures you build around it. So you can
Mm-hmm.
have like a poor area or a wealthy area and or middle area, something like that. Oh, sorry, Sir JDM, you were about to say something.
this looks like the similar to the game earlier, Simtown, but this is the era where we have the 3D graphics na then and it's much more appealing to the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
but it's not a game that's demanding like what's that game those I forgot
Mm-hmm. It's not a
those
resource
modern
hog. Mm-hmm.
Yes, this one is fortunately not too demanding.
Mm-hmm.
You just really
Okay.
have to start small and learn the mechanics.
So are those vehicles just driving around in circles? Are they going somewhere?
Yes, they are driving aimlessly because like somebody is
Aimlessly.
driving towards the like where are they going? They're in the middle. Where are they going? To the sea? They're driving
Mm-hmm.
aimlessly
See
there.
right there. I mean, the road just stops right in,
The sea.
right there, right there, the next to the river.
Yeah, I can actually see the car saying nope when he reaches that portion where he sees that he's driving straight into the water. He says nope. He turns around. At least
they
there's
don't
that.
they teleport instantly. They don't do the U-turn or
Yeah, they just whoop. Okay, I'm out of here. Yeah, although
So
it looks like fun.
imagine going down there.
Like who the hell
and
planned this city?
you also see people who are jaywalking.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no traffic laws, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, just walk whenever. Uh,
Well, Urbex City Builder. It definitely looks like something that I would get probably
There,
once the Christmas sale on GOG comes up, or maybe the Black Friday sale on GOG. Usually GOG has really good sales. I think it might be on Steam as well. I could be wrong. I could be misremembering it, but Miss Eileen is correct in the fact that if it's a Polish game studio, usually they have it more first on GOG on goodoldgames.com. Then they have it on Steam, but sometimes they do port it over too. All right, very cool.
yes.
All right,
So it's
so
on Steam as well. And if you
mm,
want to play this game, there's the like I said earlier, the Urbex City
mhm,
Builder prologue. It's actually free, and it may
mhm,
not have everything that the full game has, but it's a very decent
like taster,
playable free version.
appetizer.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
it's a nice little
So that is
appetizer.
my
The shareware
yes.
version.
The shareware version,
The
yes.
free version. And
It's
this is a legit
something.
sharer.
Yeah, it's something for you to see if it's something if it's something that is up your alley, and if you're willing, if you like it, you can buy it. If not,
Yeah.
if not, then
shareware it.
no, no, yeah,
Sharer.
shareware. Although I do miss that. I do miss that concept, demos and shareware and everything. It's kind of rare that they do that nowadays in video gaming anymore. Sad. What can I say?
Especially when they came through the free discs that came with your
Yeah.
Mhm.
DVD or CD drive,
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah. That's
Crazy.
booklets
true.
and
That's true.
bundles.
Mm-mm.
So those are my two picks. I would also like to make quick notable mentions.
Mm.
Surviving Mars, just like Clark said in the chat earlier, it's one
Yeah.
of the more modern city builders. Surviving
Surviving
Mars,
Mars.
and
Okay.
I would like to play maybe in the future Timberborn. If anybody's heard that,
Yeah, I've seen Timberborn. I've seen the what you call this. What do you call this? The adverts for Timberborn. I have to go check it out. There's lots of games that are coming out that I keep seeing adverts for, but
yeah,
I have to admit we're in a golden age right now, video gaming. There's so many choices of games that we can play. We're spoiled. We're spoiled for choice. What can I say?
yes. The
Okay.
Timberborn is where you play as beavers, and you're
Mm,
making a city with natural resources. So it's very
yes.
interesting. And
Hmm.
then there's also Steam World Build. It's still not out yet, but there's a playable demo.
Hmm.
And if anybody remembers Steam World Dig, it's also the
Yes.
same developer, Steam World
Oh,
Build. This
cool.
game.
Yeah, I think I played SteamWorld Dig a little bit before. I'll have to give SteamWorld Dig Build a try.
Yeah.
All right,
So those are my
very cool.
two games. How about Sir Joe or Sir Joel? I mean, Sir, who would like to go first?
All right, I could go. Let's see. For me, city builders are scratch and itch for me because of the fact that I'm an accountant and I see the spreadsheets laid out in front of me. I see the money, I see the power, I see the allocation of resources and everything. It scratches that OCD itch in me, and I guess one thing about it is that you do see the progress. They might not necessarily have an overarching story for all of the whole city builder aspect. Some of them just have scenarios, you know, you hit this much money by this particular year, or you hit this number of buildings or this number of citizens by the end of this turn. It's not a story based thing. That I guess that's something that you're not going to be into, Joe, because I know you're heavily story based kind of guy. But yeah, that is the thing about city builders. It's more goal oriented. You hit a certain goal as you go. So in my case, my first choice of city building game, if you can put it up for me, Joe, that would be most appreciated, is a game called Majesty for PC. And if I remember correctly, it also got ported to Macintosh long ago, and I know there is an Android version of it as well. So Majesty is a medieval type of city builder. The big difference between Majesty and a lot of other city builders is that each it's set in medieval times, medieval fantasy times, and you're basically the king just building his settlement city going into the future. The thing about it is you set goals for the people coming in. You attract the different people into your city, and there's different fantasy races. You know, humans, dwarves, elves, all these other people. You attract them, and you give out quests. You don't control any of the people as they wander around your city. You give out quests for monsters that come in. So, like if you see a monster coming towards your town, a really big one, you put in a quest flag on that monster and say, all right, so whoever can take down this monster will get 500 pieces of gold. Of course, the gold comes out from your treasury, from your city treasury. Now the city treasury is filled up by, well, of all people, tax collectors. You hire tax collectors to go around all of these buildings, and the tax collectors, you know, have the job to collect all the taxes. Now it is definitely to your advantage if you can attract more people to your city. So you build bars, you build attractions, you build tournaments, you build all of these things that bring all of these people, all of these different races all together, and they start to settle in your city. But then again, as the population grows, so does the chance of monsters showing up. So there's little the sewers that suddenly pop up because every city has to have waste disposal. Sewers pop up all over the city, and giant rats start crawling out of them. So you give rewards to anybody who goes out and kills all of these monsters or recovers that treasure chest all the way at the corner of the all the way at the corner of the map. So they don't have a storyline to the whole thing. You have scenarios. So like you're trying to build enough of a population so that your city can be certified as a city within a fiefdom, or your king can be acknowledged as the ruler of a certain number of people. So in this case, majesty is so much fun in the sense that you don't control, like a lot of city builders, you don't have direct control over your people, but you do have direct control over their motivations to do things. So you put quest flags all over. So if you want your people to attack a certain monster, you put a quest flag on it. If you want your people to go seek out treasure, you put a quest flag on it.
Yeah,
It
speaking of
also
monsters, I can see a monster right there. It's
Oh,
very
really?
small, so
Yes, exactly. There you go. So, like orcs, trolls, giant dragons maybe come in, and well, maybe not dragons, nothing as big as that because that's a world-destroying monster already. But giant rats would suddenly pop up, and each one sometimes would pop up these little scrolls that have quests on them as well. So it depends on how much of a reward you offer for that quest flag, for the number of people that go try to fulfill that quest. So if it's a low quest, if it's cheap, if it's a low quest, you can put in 10 gold, and maybe one or two people will go out and slay that monster. But if it's a really high level monster, you have to put out a really big amount of money for a lot of people to try to slay that monster. So maybe a really big monster
it's
will
interesting,
be
Sir
worth
Joe. I mean,
$5,000.
oh
That five
shit,
thousand
there's a
gold coins.
monster rampaging
Yes.
around the city, around the
Mm,
town. What
yes.
should we do? Oh, I don't know. Did the master put in on a quest?
Reward?
No, no,
No, they didn't.
no,
Ah,
he didn't.
whatever.
Okay, then
Exactly.
whatever.
That's exactly it. You have to
What the hell?
motivate your people. You have to motivate your people
Anyway,
to do it. Exactly. No, no, no. It's one the central. It's the central conceit of this game, Majesty. The fact that you have to motivate your people to do things through money, which is a unique aspect. Because in some city builders, like Miss Eileen said, well, actually, like you said, Joe, you order them to do it and they just do it. Whereas in Majesty, you have to motivate them to do it using money, using gold
I
coins.
choose not to.
Yeah, exactly. But
How
if you
much?
can,
Five, well, 5 gold for the Minotaur? Fuck that.
exactly.
No,
Yeah, exactly.
Rather
Precisely.
that.
Whereas if you say 500 gold, you say, yeah, I'm gonna go
Okay.
do it. Yeah, exactly. And it's a lot of fun because of the fact that you give them motivation. You have to balance how much money you have as to how badly you need to have that goal done. So your treasure might have 10,000 gold, but killing that minotaur might cost you
Yeah, they're all
5,000
greedy
gold.
Yeah.
douchebags.
Yeah, exactly. You just do it. They don't want to do it unless they're amply rewarded for it, and that is the
Get the
amazing
fuck
thing
out of my
about
town.
magic. Yeah, exactly. They don't have any. They don't have any loyalty to you. Their loyalty is to the money. Exactly. That's precisely it. If you can pay
Oh,
them
oh,
well
oh,
enough.
that castle right there. That's just White Castle. It means
Exactly.
nothing. It means nothing.
Oh, and one thing, Majesty has the most amazing imitator of Sean Connery as the narrator. Majesty,
Oh,
a
really?
monster is yes is
Oh,
coming down
well,
towards your town. You
you should have said so
Yes,
originally.
the elves are revolting, and they're really going out on something. It is an amazing game. It is so much fun. Honestly, if you're interested in a game that is a little bit off the beaten path, that is something a little different from the city builder that you've gotten used to. Because if you command in your regular city builder, they will do. In this case, you have to motivate them. So this is
How
the
much
game to
will it
play.
take for you to defeat those
Exactly.
monsters?
Majesty, our treasury is getting low. Exactly. It's not. It's so much fun, honestly. If you get the chance, give this game a try. Majesty. It's available on GOG. It's available on Steam. It's also available on Android, if I remember correctly. Might even have an iPhone port. Never got the chance to check it out. But
How
yes,
the hell
Majesty is
they
my
got
choice.
Sir Sean Connery to voice this game, huh?
A very good facsimile of Sean Connery. Anyway, if you
He
guys
must have
want to
something to
listen to it,
blackmail him with.
I I really wish we could play audio on this game, but yeah, you can hear the narrator say what needs to be said. All right, so that is my first game of choice, Majesty. It got an HD remaster. Check it out. You might want to see if it's up your alley. I personally highly recommend it. My second game of choice, I'd be remiss in saying, and I'd be remiss in mentioning the impressions games like Caesar 3, Pharaoh, or Emperor. but I realized something. I'm not as deeply versed in these games as I should be. So I'm not going to put them in as my second game of choice. But I would still highly recommend them if you want city builders, because if you're talking about city builders, those are excellent examples of great city builders. I just don't have as much experience with them as I wish that I did. So my second game of choice is a game called Tropical 4. JDM, Juan De Marcos actually saw me stream this game. Tropical 4 is a city builder set in a banana republic somewhere in the Caribbean, and it's hilarious. The fact is, with Tropical 4, if you're at all familiar with any kind of banana republic, like the Philippines, or or the different countries, Tropical 4 is a city builder that is exactly up your alley because of the fact that corruption is rampant in that one, and it factors into your gameplay. Tropical 4 is the main conceit of Tropical 4 is that you're trying to improve your city, but you have to have your cut with it for every single improvement. So you might be the income for this particular building might be so and so, but you have to one of the central goals of the game is for you to be able to amass a certain amount of money in your personal Swiss bank account for you to be able to consider yourself a success as a dictator. Speaking of which, you play a dictator in this game. I mean, it's a banana republic. What can I say? Every banana republic has to have a dictator, and you build
Unprecedented.
plantations. You build plantations,
Okay.
banana plantations, food plantations, coffee plantations, cigar plantations. You
But
build
does it like
canneries.
but does
Mm,
it look like a banana plantation?
no,
It looks some
no, it does not. No, it does not look like a banana plantation. Eventually, you build your cities to the point where you have nuclear power plants. The schools have a certain limit. Like, if you want your citizens to be educated, educated enough to work, but not educated enough to become revolutionaries, because there comes a time when your citizens become too educated, then they start spouting, "Hey, my city is very very oppressive. I would have to have a revolution." I'm sorry, very bad accent there. So they would form rebellions, and you have to put them down. You have to have a very strong military here in the city for the revolutionaries to be afraid of staging a revolution. But yes, the thing about it is, Tropico is a banana republic simulator in the sense that you have so much fun doing it, and the people roaming around aren't just roaming around willy-nilly. The cars moving around actually do have objectives. They go to where they go to where your buildings are supposed to be built. The people who you assign are going to have to go where they need to go, and it's either you're gonna have to build your island brand to become world renowned, so that the people will be attracted to your country, to your banana republic country, as tourists, and spend money for you to have more money in your personal coffers, not just in the city coffers, but also in your Swiss bank account. So again, you are doing all you can to try to make it look like your republic is progressing. But to be perfectly honest, you're just amassing money for yourself, for you to be able to leave later on and retire to your own private island. Screw the republic. Whoever is left behind can pick up the ashes. It sounds very familiar, actually, when you stop and think about it. So so in our personal experience. So yes, it has the usual trappings like distilleries, it has lumber, and your prime minister is always trying to assassinate you and take over. It's it's funny in the sense that you identify with it so much, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, although there are things like disasters where a tidal wave can come and wipe out all your fields, throw an oil tanker onto the middle of your island, things like that. So it can happen. But Tropical 4, being not the earliest version of the Tropical series and not the latest version, although the later versions are also a lot of fun, this strikes the best balance for me in terms of resource hog and playability. So Tropical 4 is the game where you can actually see people moving around, and not just little dots kind of moving around and everything. And there kangaroo elections too. So every 4 years
What
there's elections
are those
where you can.
slums?
Sorry, what?
What
Slums. There will be slums. There will be definitely be slums. You try to balance it off so that.
really? A city building game
Yes.
where
Mhm.
you can build slums.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm.
That's the funniest thing about it. Tropico 4 has that, you know, it's I'm sorry to have to say this, but I identify with it so much because I spent the first 35 years of my life living in the Philippines. I know exactly how this works. So there will be slums, there will be schools where education is limited. There, you know that you're importing people, shall we say, consultants who will give you
Where the hell
advice.
is this? Cavite?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That Joe is pointing it out perfectly. Because the moment you start playing Tropical, you feel right at home. For us Filipinos, we know exactly how it feels. So,
Is this Squatter Sim City? What is this?
Again,
exactly. You know,
this is a
funniest
game that
thing.
you can actually relate.
Yes,
Uh,
exactly. The funniest thing is
like
there's
Barong
slums.
Barong Sim City. What is
There's
this?
there's tenements. You have to keep up with those
Shanty
slums.
houses.
Oh, and those red zones are actually how attractive your country is to sit to investors and to tourists. So if they tend to wander around the red areas, their opinion of your island goes down. So you have to have a lot of police there. There's a lot of crime there. There's a lot of pollution and everything. So how
Who are you
green an
playing
area
as?
is.
Hugo
You,
Chavez? El
you,
Chapo?
Oh, there's lots of choices as to which dictator you want to play too. There's lots of dictators available in the initial choice of what dictator you want to play. Each dictator has pluses and minuses too. One dictator might be very well educated, but he's a coward. One dictator might be very brave, but he's not very economically literate. So
So,
it's a
so
great
what's the struggle here, Sir Joel?
mm,
Keep the
the
United
struggle.
States out of
Yeah,
your island,
well,
anything?
that's another thing. The United States and Russia are all vying for influence among your
Oh,
country.
sure, of course.
They give
Capitalism and
money to
communism.
you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they give money to you. Oh, the communists too. If you make the communists happy, the Russians give you more money. If you make the capitalists happy, the U.S. gives you more money. It's an amazing balancing act, and it's just mind blowing how much fun that balancing act can be. So Tropical 4, like Dan says in the chats. Great chat, Sir Joel. Tropical 4 is very cool. There you go. It's a lot of fun. It's very detailed, but not so detailed that it would bog down your machine.
It's so
And
interesting. You're building a drug den right across the
yes,
mountains over there.
yes. Because there's also a
What
side
is a
part.
MATLAB?
It's not completely legit. Not all the things that you build are completely legit. There will be you know drug portions.
Mhm.
There will be the what do you call that, the Breaking Bad guys,
Walter
the,
White,
The money
yes,
Heisenberg.
laundering
Walter.
scheme.
Exactly. That is the thing. Fine it's a fine balancing act between how legit you want it to look like, but you still need to amass money anyway through illegitimate means. And at the very end of it, you try to survive being assassinated by your prime minister, and get away with as much money as you can towards your Swiss bank account and get out of
Well,
there.
you got your marijuana fields out there.
Yes, that's true. Yes, that's true. Exactly. So that is my second
Growing weed.
recommendation overall. So my first recommendation is Majesty. If you want something that you have to motivate your people to do stuff, and second recommendation is Tropica 4, where if you want to feel like you're managing a banana republic, which something like all of us here can definitely relate to, because more often than not, we live in a banana republic, but we have no power to manage it. This way, you get to manage it, at least in a fantasy realm. All right, so my runner-up is it's a game. It's not even really a city builder per se, but it's a vertical city builder. If you ask me, Miss Eileen, I think you know this game that I'm talking about. It's a game called Sim Tower. So Sim Tower
Yes.
is a game where you build a building instead of a city, going upwards instead of sideways, because city builders are sideways. Sim Tower is a building simulator where you have to build building that contains restaurants, that contains condominiums, that contains offices, that contains security offices, cleaning staff, and everything. It's a balancing act of how many stars you get for that building, and how in terms of quality rating from the city. It's a lot of fun, and some would say it's also an elevator simulator, because you have to balance how the elevators go up and down per floor. But I digress. So that's my runner-up, Sim Tower from the Sim series. So my three games: Majesty, Tropical 4, Sim Tower. So those are my choices. Back to you, Miss Eileen.
Awesome choices there, Sir Joel. I really love
Mhm.
those games. I've
Mhm.
already wishlisted Majesty in the background again.
There you we sell each
And
other on these games.
yes, we do.
Maybe maybe we could align ourselves with GOG.com.
It would be amazing if we could, if we could reach out. GOG, we're right here, Timeless Gamer Show. We sell
Yeah.
your
GG.
stuff. All right, back to you, Miss Eileen. Go ahead.
Thank you, Sir Joe. And on to Sir Joe. What are your picks for our topic, city builders?
Mm,
Well, we only have time for one more.
mhm. Yeah.
So hey guys, so it's that part of the show once again where
Mm.
where where I have to share my particular game. It's gonna be wholesome this time. Okay, I promise.
All
Um,
right. I'll
all
see. I'll
right.
believe it when I see it.
Okay. So all right. Okay. So for this episode, you know me. I'm a JRPG guy.
Mhm.
Um, when they decide on these kinds of genres and topics, I try to make sure that I'm playing a JRPG with some elements of the topic that they're trying to they're trying to talk about. So for this episode, I chose well, I searched for a while JRPGs that has a city building element of it. So Actraiser was one,
Mhm.
and Sir Dan already mentioned that. There are a few as well, but all of those are either PC games and from GOG or Steam.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I don't have any money for that bullshit. Although I, I don't really play PC as much as possible. Only if I needed to. But I did saw Azure Dreams for the PlayStation 1,
Mhm.
PS1, or for the PS2, which is Dark Cloud. And so I chose Dark Cloud for this one.
Dark Cloud.
So
Yes, for PS2.
Dark Cloud. Okay, so what's Dark Cloud? So Dark Cloud, you can see it right there. So the story of
Mhm.
Dark Cloud. So there's this evil genie that got loose, got summoned, and this evil genie started decimating, destroying all of the cities, all of the towns, the whole world over. Oh shit! But don't fret. The fairy king was able to save everyone and everything in this world by placing them each and everyone inside these Pokemon balls. Okay, so you, the hero, who he just met for the first time, by the way, thinks that you have the power to collect all of these balls and bring everything back to its normal state. Oh, well, no, that's fine. I mean, you although once you collect the balls, you can either place them back to where they were, or just go nuts and place them whenever, wherever you want them to. So that's a
Mhm.
city building aspect of it. Anyway, so so I will so let's go with the city building aspects of it. Okay, so um, per town there will be a dungeon, and according to the fairy king, these pokeballs that contains all the town's people, all the town's buildings, rivers, roads, all that shit, all of that crap, all of them
Mhm.
are saved inside these pokeballs, and for some reason they all it just got scattered all over this dungeon. So it's up to you to find and collect all of these pokemon balls and release all of these contents outside of that vast area, that vacant lot where the town used to be. So see right there. So the balls can either contain the houses, the townsfolk, fences, lamps, trees, bridges, fences, Dan Cortez. Anyway, um, So once you're able to collect all of those, then you can go to the diorama. They call it diorama, really. The diorama, that's it. The diorama view, where you can customize where each building should go, which roads should, where the roads should be. So, and where the rivers, where the ponds should be, where the windmills should be. So, and there are some builds online that you can follow if you don't feel like being too creative or being too imaginative on where do you want to put each and everything. Um, there's no rules really. You don't get rewarded for being too creative, being too imaginative, being the good city developer, town developer that you are. No, there's no rewards for that. As long as you get everything, as long as you get everyone, you collect all of the Pokeball. I keep saying Pokeballs, but because that's what they are.
I mean,
Um,
that's pretty much it. It describes them. Yeah.
so once you got them, once you got everything, and once you constructed all the town of in your image, once you designed everything, that's the time when you can go to the next town over and start all over again. So that's the city building aspects of it. Once you're in the dungeon, so it kind of plays like Arc Razor. So for the first,
Mm, a
you
little
are
bit.
in the,
Yeah.
um, I'll show it. You're inside. You're going to be inside the dungeon.
Mm,
Um, you're going to be inside the dungeon fighting fighting some monsters. So it's just that character, right? So the main character's name is Toan. Toan.
mm, mm,
I think he's a guy. I think it's a guy.
mm.
I say that because I think it's a guy, uh, but he has a girl's ass. I mean, really,
So just
this
use
is PS2
pronouns.
graphics. Oh, this is PS2 graphics, guys. Okay, and
Mhm.
you're looking and when he's running, you're looking at him at the back,
Yes.
and you're looking at him and I'm like, damn, man, you got some
he
ass
he
on you.
he didn't neglect glute day. Come on.
No, I mean his pants are really tight. Like,
There you go.
damn. I mean, you can't really look at it here at the footage.
Mm,
I'm playing it on my PS2, and I'm using my Retro Tink 5X.
mm.
Everything is everything is 1080p. Everything is high definition, and I can see the crack.
Oh my gosh. All right.
So it's very distracting anyway. So like just like Ackweiser, there's no struggle for you to rebuild the town. Although
Mhm.
on the dungeon aspect of it, it plays like a dungeon crawler, an action adventure.
Mm.
Um, it's action adventure. It's only you. You're only controlling one character. Um, you have weapons that you can upgrade. You can upgrade or you can transmutate into something else, depending on which items, which accessories you put that you put inside these weapons.
Mm.
And all of these treasures, all of these items, they are very random. So in each dungeon there are 8 levels, and each level is different. So when I was following this game guide, and the game guide says, you know what, this is useless. Each time you go a level, the layout is different. So reading me is just a waste of time.
Mm.
The items, there ain't no items here. There's no specific items here. The game will give you whatever.
Mm.
So each time, so let's just for example, I finish level 1. You have the option to go to level 2 or go upstairs, or to go back to town, replenish your stuff, replenish your items. And you cannot say, and there's no save point here. There's no save point in the dungeons.
Mm.
So once you complete the dungeon, once you found everything inside that level, the only time that you can save is by going outside of the dungeon. There, then you can save. Okay, so how about if I rebuild all? So let's for example, I got 5 Pokemon balls that have the towns, right? The town buildings and townspeople, and I already placed it on on the diorama. What if I made a mistake? What if I want to if I want to if I want to redo? There's no load. It's just save. So that means you have to reset your PlayStation and redo all and go back to the last save point that you were in. What kind of bullshit is this? And they also included the function of day, evening, night, autumn, fall, winter, spring. I mean, I'm like,
Mm,
so what? So you can see in the footage, it's dark all of a sudden because it's already evening. And I'm like,
mm,
what does that do? And keep in mind, I've only played this for see, so okay, Adventure Day 1 night. Now it's going to Adventure Day 2 day. What does that tell you? What does that mean? What does it matter? Does the enemies in the dungeon grow stronger depending on the day? Are you getting more? Are you getting more items depending on which season it is? I don't know. The game's like, oh no, the game will just give you whatever. No, so I'm not like, so what the hell is this for? Why do you stop? Why do you stop the game? Why do you stop the game just to change the day, or change the night, change the seasons? The game's not telling you why it's there. The Fairy King does not even tell you why the time aspect of it. Unlike those farm games that it kind
mm.
of simulates the time of course your crops needs to grow overnight,
Yes.
of course. I mean, they're not just gonna grow all willy-nilly. You have to sleep, of
Mhm.
course. This game, no. Um, uh, it just does. It is, and so it's kind of jarring and weird that you have to stop and um, while you're doing something in the middle of doing
Mm,
something, running around the town, and then boom, a time change. So that's basically Dark Cloud. I'm only showing you guys the city aspect of it, the city building aspect
mhm.
of it. But
Yes.
that's him. That's Toan right there. As far as I know, you can play 4 characters. I don't have any proof if this is true or not because I haven't really played that game that much. But there are 4 or 6 towns that you're supposed to rebuild, and each town has their own main character. So on this village, it's just him. So in the next town over, mm, I think there's another character that you're about to play. But
Mhm,
based on the narrative of the Fairy King, I think Towan is gonna be your main guy, and the other characters will be your party members that you can swap around.
mhm.
So, anyways, I haven't checked the rest of the gameplay, but I think that's the gist of it.
It, I think it's more a case of they were really experimenting with the genre here. They really wanted to see if they could mix in the JRPG portion with a city building aspect, and the execution was lacking. Honestly,
Oh,
if
oh my
the
God,
yes, go
Sir
ahead, go ahead.
Joel.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, go
so
ahead.
on this game, okay,
Mhm.
I'm just trying to find it.
Yeah,
So
go
on
ahead.
this game,
Mhm.
um,
It sounds like they had
uh,
ideas for implementing the weather system, maybe like a la Harvest
Mm.
Moon, but they weren't able to put it in. It sounds like
in this game, one of the weird aspects that they put in that they put
mm.
in is your character can get thirsty, and I don't mean it on a sexual way. Thirsty as in thirsty. Like so you're running around and you got a hydration meter because you're
Mhm.
running around. Eventually
Mm.
you'll get
Yes.
thirsty,
Mhm.
so you're carrying water bottles, right?
Yeah,
So, and if you neglect drinking water, it chips away from your HP.
I see. Okay,
And I'm
it's
like, why the hell do you want to do that? Why why put that in there? I mean, for
again.
realism's sake.
Again,
I'm- I'm,
it was a time for innovation, and I guess the people back then were trying a lot of different things to try to see what sticks and what doesn't
See,
during the
I'm
feedback.
so
Mm,
here it is. So
yes,
here it is, guys. So I'm showing this to you now. So
yes,
if you can see, there's the HP.
mm,
Oh, for the weapons that you're using, the
yeah.
weapons have their own. So the weapons have their own HP as well.
So
So
they're
that
breakable.
they're breakable. So that
Mm-hmm,
means you're fighting enemies, right? And there's a good
mm-hmm.
chance that you might break your weapon if your HP is if your weapon HP is down. I'm like,
Yeah.
why the hell this is it? Well, that's the thing. Well, every city building game should have a gimmick. So this is their gimmick.
Mm,
Your
yes.
character gets thirsty. Your weapons
Mm-hmm,
are breakable.
yes.
So see, so he needs to get into the water to keep
Mm-hmm,
himself hydrated. And I'm
mm-hmm.
like, okay, sure. I'm in a dungeon. I'm
Okay.
running around. I'm
Mm.
fighting enemies. Surely, uh, uh, he doesn't eat. He just
I
drinks.
I read
Okay,
that wrong.
sure.
It said cave bat, but I read it love bat. Okay, whatever.
So, so it's just so you're just battling bats,
Hmm. Like
golems,
goblins, yes. Mm-hmm.
goblins, and all that shit. So there are treasure chests in there. The treasure
Mm-hmm.
chest can it's just random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever game you're using, toss that out. It means nothing. It tells you nothing
It's
because the game
procedurally
will just give you
generated,
whatever.
basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's the Pokemon. That's a Pokemon ball right there that you'll get into.
Okay.
Um, and those circular Pokemon balls have a different parts of the town. Either it's a house or it's one of the townsfolk.
Mm.
Mhm.
You're
So
not
that's it. So
kidding.
you're just roaming around inside that dungeon, just to get everything. Oh, for you to advance to a level, you need to
Mm.
find a key, and the
Oh, yeah.
key will only appear by defeating a specific kind of monster,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and the game does not tell you which one. So that means you have to beat every
Nope.
single one, knowingly that your weapon is breakable.
Mm-hmm. It's a balancing act, really. Like how much of this particular weapon can handle before you hit that monster, before you kill that monster that generates the key. So yeah,
Sir Dan is asking, have I tried reading the instruction manual? Oh, on this particular game, you don't even. This is one
Who
of those games. Okay, you only need the manual just to explain what's the basics of it.
I, I,
But
again, Jen, we gamers scorn instruction manuals. We toss them into the bathroom and read them while we're doing our business on the toilet. That's basically us. We figure things out as we go. That's us gamers.
so in the treasure chest, you'll get items, accessories. These accessories that you can equip on your weapons that either can increase the attack power, increase its
Mhm.
durability, so they're not keen to breaking as fast.
Yeah.
Um, it can add elements. So some of these elements are weak on some
Mhm.
monsters. There are some enhancements like anti flying monster, anti
Mhm.
goblin monsters, anti rock monsters, and all that shit.
Mhm.
And like I mentioned, the game does not really tell you anything about them. They just show up. So that means you have to. In as a matter of replayability, you need to keep going back to these levels, level 1 to 8, hoping to get the best items that you can get. So until you're happy,
Mhm.
then that's the time that you can move to the next town over. So you might spend like over 40 hours just on the first stage just to get the best stuff. So there you go. This is that's Dark Cloud in a nutshell.
Well, it's still visually appealing, although it does sound like the mechanics were very experimental for its time. And well, Joe wasn't lying. The guy's got a lot of junk in his trunk. Just
Mm.
looking at it right now.
This game
I
is
mean,
like a dungeon crawler slash city builder.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh,
something
see,
like
you
that.
can return it to you can return the town to its original form. You see, just before the village was destroyed by the genie, I saved the
Mhm.
buildings and people by sealing them into spheres called Atlas. Those are Pokemon balls. Come on, it,
Yes.
those Atlas were scattered all over around by its tremendous magic power. But I don't have the power to do it, so all you have to do. So I'm asking you to do it for me.
Hmm.
All the power that I have, I can't collect them by myself.
Oh, there
But
you go.
you look like a capable guy. I think you can do it. You have a nice ass on you. You can go.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, but then again, yeah, the game itself was good enough apparently that it got ported over to modern. Well, not modern consoles. I think there was a PlayStation 4 port of it though, on the PlayStation Store to 1080p. So enough people enjoyed it to actually have it done on PS4 at the very least. Dark Cloud 2 also, if I remember correctly, but yeah, I never got to play Dark Cloud 2. Mhm.
Mm.
All right, very cool. So that's
This
Joe's
is
choice.
another way
Mhm.
of developers baiting you to buy an RPG game, then suddenly it becomes a different game.
And then slipping in a little something that'll,
Yeah.
that'll
Just
surprise you.
like
Yeah.
a Racer.
I like just like ActRaiser.
Just like
Agreed.
Actraiser.
Actually, Joe says that it's a nice little parallel to ActRaiser. So, I mean, if you guys are interested in trying out a JRPG with slightly different mechanics, and you're not afraid to experiment, Dark Cloud is the way to go. Mhm. All right. So, back to you, Miss Eileen.
Thank you very much, Sir Joe. That's a really
See, that's
interesting take.
wholesome, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'd say about
it's also
85% wholesome. Yeah. 85% wholesome. I'd give it to you. Okay. Yes, Miss Eileen,
Compared
go
to
ahead.
what from the previous
I mean, it
episodes.
doesn't have to
Yeah,
be all girls, you know.
yeah, I know, but I
I
mean, we have
mean,
to.
guys have asses too.
I mean, heck, we might as
Equality.
well.
just
Yeah, I agree.
just to make a point, even Vegeta and Dragon Ball has,
Sorry,
let's
Miss
say,
Eileen, you disappeared. Yeah, go ahead.
even Vegeta on Dragon Ball has a, let's say, a large behind. So
Equality.
maybe the
Oh my
main
goodness.
character of
Okay.
this game is a guy, I think. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Pastor
Mm.
Joe. So we have reached the 3 hour mark. Maybe before we end the episode, a very quick roundabout of which city builder would you recommend to somebody who just wants to try and dive into the genre, and any tips
Mm-hmm.
on playing city builders? So for me, my recommendations would be SimCity 2000 because it's
Mm-hmm.
a simple city builder. It's not too simple and it's not too complicated. It's also widely available on both EA and GOG.
Yes.
There's also some game called Theo Town on the mobile phone. It's free, so since it's an era of mobile gaming as well, anybody who wants to
Mm-hmm.
try city builders, try Theo Town. It's also Minecraft style graphics.
Mm-hmm.
And my tips
Nice.
on playing city builders would be just start small. Do not focus on expanding very quickly,
Mm-hmm.
and then try to take the time to learn the game's mechanics because each game has their own styles of playing. And
Yes.
so, how about Sir GDM? Any recommendation for entry level city builders and tips on how to play them?
For me, for especially for modern players, there's a port of Constructor in GOG.com that was released in I think 2019. It's the HD port of Constructor from 1996, 97.
Mm-hmm.
So entry level, if you would like to play like a small scale city builder, unlike if you're overwhelmed of these sim city games, you can
Mm-hmm.
try constructor. You can build factories, how different kinds of houses, even mob boss house,
Mm-hmm.
or even uh building they call soup. What's that? A soup something.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's also hippies. If you would like to play a light-hearted city building game,
Mm-hmm.
you can try Constructor. It has humor,
Mm-hmm.
but don't be too complacent because the game is very difficult, especially if you play the game mode called Utopia. I think you need
Yes.
to keep the city folks happy. You need to
Mm-hmm.
keep their happiness level not below 90%, or else you will lose the game. Then you
Oh
will
my
see
gosh.
the grave and the cement thing that I was talking about earlier.
Okay.
So, and my tips, just like Miss Eileen um, explained earlier,
Mm-hmm.
you need to micromanage. You don't need to expand
Mm-hmm.
entirely in the beginning of the game. And specifically for constructor, don't loan too much money in the banks, especially with the
Okay.
mobsters, because you'll see the game over screen.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I can imagine that happening, even in real
Yeah.
life. Even in real life.
Yeah. And don't even try it real life.
Mm-hmm.
Banks are okay, but mobsters or loan sharks, not a good
No.
idea.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Sir JDM. How about you, Sir Joe? Do you
So
have any?
Go
If you
ahead.
have any? Yes,
Ah,
Sir Joe.
yes, 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 yes.
Mm-mm.
If you're
The channel is
into
fun.
JRPGs with a lot of city building elements
Mm-hmm.
and cute guys with many distracting buns in them, then I have a game for you.
Oh
The
my
game is
gosh.
called Dark Cloud.
Yeah.
It has everything. It has
Mm-hmm.
trees, bats,
Mm-hmm.
roads, windmills, rivers, houses, a guy named Ungaga, Pokemon balls, everything, dungeon crawling. So play Dark Cloud. Very simple, really. If you're familiar with the Archriser games, it's basically three games in one. As far as the city building elements go, pretty generic, really. The building's just there. Choose a building, put it somewhere. It just pops out. It doesn't. It doesn't. The buildings don't construct slowly. It just shows up. If you go into the diorama, place the building there, go back to the overworld map. Oh, it's just there. It magically shows up. Like so. Um, Although it has its own caveats, Dark Cloud to kind of address some of the flaws. But although the city building elements of Dark Cloud 2 is somewhat different from Dark Cloud 1. So if you're into JRPGs and you still want to feel that city building entry level element of it, try Dark Cloud for the PlayStation 2, which, by the way, I played it on a console, on my PS2 console, but I don't have the game, so I shared it. Guys, you can
Yeah.
always share where the games that we're that we're
Yeah.
we're showcasing in this show. Shareware is the where to go. Sharing is caring.
Yes,
Yes.
it is. Thank you, Bill here, Sir Joe. How about you, Sir Joel?
In my case, I'd like to first read out Dan's
Yes.
message here, which is I kind of agree with. SimCity on SNES is a good entry into city builders. They tailor it for kids, like most stuff on Nintendo, e.g., baby RPGs like Chrono Trigger, and so it's really easy to access and get into. I agree with Dan on that one
Another
because
dig, another
another
shade
dig on Chrono
Chrono
Trigger. Although, yeah, I agree with Dan. If you wanted to go from the earliest part, it's a good entry point into city builders. But if you personally ask me, if you have a beefy enough machine, I would definitely recommend going the other way, going from modern city builders because they have amazing tutorials. All these modern city builders like City Skyline, Cities XL, Surviving the Aftermath, Surviving Mars, End Zone, and all of these amazing brand new city builders learn from everything that we experienced way back when, and have really good tutorials now, because of the fact that they enable you to really understand the aspects of city building. They start small and then they slowly expand into a ginormous amount of, of balancing inside of your head of how much needs to be done. So if you have the beef, if you have the power, I'd recommend modern city builders like City Skyline, Cities XL, Surviving the Aftermath, Surviving Mars, because they have amazing tutorials for newbies going into it. But if you wanted, if you wanted to go into something a little bit less heavy in terms of balancing acts, but still into the resources that you need to understand city building, I'd go Animal Crossing. Funniest thing is, Animal Crossing will still give you that taste of building a city, because of the fact that usually get tossed into the role of mayor anyway right off the bat, and you have to build everything according to the specifications of the citizens that come into your town, either by your citizens or by that loan shark Tom Nook. So if you want a tiny taste of city building and a little bit of difference when it comes to into the concept, Animal Crossing, either on the DS, on the 3DS, or on the Switch, would be the way to go as well. So again, my recommendation is modern city builders, and then tap into the classic, really good stuff like the Impressions games, like Sim City, like Sim Tower, and things like that. Go backwards if you want to get yourself introduced into city building, because the further you go, the deeper it gets, the better it gets too. That's my recommendation.
Well, thank you, Sir Joel. Any tips on, or I guess that's your tip would be,
Oh, my
how
tip. Yeah,
you
my tip is, start with the modern stuff if you want to jump into
once.
it. But again, more importantly, make the money. If you're into city builders, focus on the money. Make sure that you have enough money to keep your city running, because the moment that you run out, it's the most frustrating feeling of you need to do this, but you've run into the negative balance in your spreadsheet. So
Mm.
money is the most one of the most important facets. Keep an eye on your funds, because the moment that you run out of cash, it's game over for you as mayor, and you get run out of town, or you get cement shoes and get tossed into the lake.
Yes,
That's my take. There you go.
yes, avoid being in the red.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
thank you very much, Sir Joel. I guess that's it for today's episode. I'm tossing it back to Sir Joel for
Yes.
our ending.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you for
Closing.
that, Miss I, Sir JDM, and Sir Joel. One of the takeaways for this episode is that the city building games or any sim games, or anything that revolves around money and resources. It teaches the player to be more fiscally
Mhm.
responsible,
Yes.
fiscally practical.
Mhm.
Not just it's good that you're experimenting, building whatever, but as the game goes on, you'll realize, oh, I should have built this first before building that. Oh, I should have saved this so I can do that.
Mhm. Yes.
So it teaches the player to be more responsible with its resources. It teaches the players on how to be savvy in regarding to placing which buildings, which tower defenses, which fences, which rivers should go, um, crops, agriculture, whatever, buildings, establishments, stuff like that, depending on the game. And yeah, that's it. That's a show. Wow, 3 hours, really. Well, for something that um, we have Miss I to thank for that.
Mhm.
Uh, regardless of the genres, guys, we can always stretch this out.
Mhm.
And let's go to our shameless plugs. Let's go with Sir JDM. Where can they find you?
Yes, you can see me in Twitch and on Facebook. Facebook.
Mm.
1, 2, 3 Go Retro. I usually play action games. Rec- Recently, I haven't been streaming. So if you would like to see replays of my playthrough, just go to my YouTube channel, 1, 2, 3 Go Retro as well, and I have my previous playthroughs there. And you can also see me here on Timeless Gamers every week, Saturdays.
All right. Thank you for that, Sir JDM. How about Sir Joe?
Hey, all right. Thanks very much, everybody, for sticking around, for listening to our discussion on city builders. You can find me on Twitch and on Kick under Banyagang Native. Just search on the search bar up on top, type in Banyagang Native, and you'll usually find me there. Hashtag FUFB. I haven't had the chance to really stream most recently because of the fact that I've been on hiatus. I've been doing a lot of work, been doing a lot of family stuff, especially going into the holidays now, but I'll do my very best to go back to streaming sometime very soon. I have kind of narrowed down my content into arcade racers, simulations, off the beaten path kind of games, obscure, unknown, weird, strange kind of games. So if you guys want, check me out on kick.com and on twitch.tv. Banyagan Native coming right at you. Back to you, John.
All right. Thank you for that, Sir Joel. And the captain of the show for tonight, Miss I.
So everyone, you can catch me on Twitch. I rarely stream, but I was able to get back into it after several months. So I hope to stream again in the near future. Any kind of game, mostly retro, and maybe continue my other playthroughs from my previous streams in the past. So you can find me on Twitch and Slimport and also on YouTube.
All right. Thank you for that, Miss I. So just a quick word to our partners, and one of which for this month we got Sweet Tooth España.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Sweet Tooth España, they are located at the second floor of the Fuse Box Building, 1254 Astoria Street in Sampaloc, Manila. That's near UST, University of Santo Tomas. For They have varieties of shakes, different kinds of flavors. So if you're into if you're within the vicinity, try Sweet Tooth España.
Man, those look
And
scrumptious. I'm gonna have to go and visit that place
wow.
when I get back to Pinas. I'll try every single one of those shakes. Mm.
And of course, a quick shout out to the rest of our partners, the Sega Mega Master Show. Again, with Sir Dan down there, and Sir Viraj, who can't be here. Sega Mega Master Show podcast, dedicated in everything Sega during the 8-bit and 16-bit era. You can watch and listen to their show by searching Sega Mega Masters in YouTube for all Sega game reviews, interviews, discussions, and challenges. We also would like to give a shout out to Retro Unlimited, that offers apparel and clothing with prints referencing old school anime, video games, pop culture, yes, and all of that stuff. Just go to their online shops in Facebook, Lazada, and TikTok. That's Retro Unlimited. A quick shout out as well to Shuffle Emporium. Um, that also sells anime figures, toys, trading card games, and other collectibles. Just go to their website, shuffleemporium.com, or to their Facebook page and check out their awesome inventory and take your collection to the next level. Studio.ph, of course, for quality printings of stickers, shirts, hoodies, bags, and lots more. Just go to their page at studio.ph or send them an email to studio.ph@gmail.com for your customized personal and corporate printing inquiries. And lastly, Collector's Alley, that houses old video games, toys, action figures, gunpla, model kits, and anime related goodies. Located at the third floor of the LRT Caloocan Mall in Caloocan, ho- owned by Sir Chairman Erwin of RGCP.
Hello,
Good.
Chairman. It's great. Just shout out to Chairman right there.
They're also having this mini event, a buy and sell video game retro market. located right just adjacent to Collectors Alley, third floor of LRT Caloocan, from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Tomorrow, Sunday. Just go there and have a look, see if all of the retro video game goodies, consoles, video games, accessories, peripherals, everything in there. Uh, j- um, so just a quick plug on that mini event, and of course the show, the Timeless Gamer Show. You can still check them out by going to the Facebook page of the Timeless Gamers Show, the YouTube channel, um, Twitch. You can also go to our website, still under construction. That's timelessgamers.com. And for all of our audio versions of our past episodes, all of them are still available by going to your favorite audio streaming platforms out there. And that is the show. Thank you guys once again. All of you have been wonderful. On behalf of Sir Dan, Sir Viraj, Sir Ray, who cannot be here for tonight's show. Thank you all so much. And our games and our bodies may grow out of date, but our gaming experiences will forever remain.
Timeless.
Timeless. See you guys again soon. Have a great rest of the weekend. Bye.
Bye, guys.